tonight. Fireworks displays on New Year's Eve. And Chicago River and Navy Pier will be especially crowded. So for that, expect about 1,300 additional Chicago police officers to be spread across the city on this New Year's Eve. Patrol Bureau Chief Fred Waller saying that the majority of the extra officers will be in uniform and will increase their visibility. A 6-year-old boy this morning reported in good condition following a shooting in South Chicago. It happened on Monday near 83rd Street and Exchange around 5:15 p.m. when those near the child heard a gunshot. Boy was reportedly struck in the arm and taken by a family member to Comer Children's Hospital. Listed in fair condition according to Chicago police, and detectives are continuing their investigation. The family of a college student who was killed in a shooting in Chicago last week upset with a charge that has been filed connected to her death. Lanai Bell was home on winter break from Michigan State University and was shot and reportedly killed last Friday when Lafayette Hodges was playing with a gun that went off. Hodges has been charged with manslaughter in that case and appeared in court yesterday. Legal marijuana sales in Illinois are set to begin New Year's Day. Many dispensaries are bracing for shortages. Some may not even open, with their resources only focused on medical marijuana dispensing. Meantime, the message from Chicago police is that they will not be looking to ticket anyone smoking pot outside. Spokesperson tells the Sun-Times that those state legalization laws prohibit people from smoking cannabis publicly, including front and backyards, Chicago police officers have been directed to be more informative to smokers about the new rules. Meantime, marijuana will continue to be illegal in Indiana and Wisconsin, and police will be on the lookout for those transporting and driving while buzzed. The leaders of 18 environmental and civic groups want U.S. Steel to face tougher penalties for a hazardous substance spill from one of their Northwest Indiana plants. The group submitted a letter this week to a federal judge in Hammond, arguing the fine of about $600,000 included in a proposed settlement with the Justice Department is inadequate. Chicago Alderman Carrie Austin will stand for re-election as a city council member, as she has since 1994. But she's exiting the re-election race for a position she's held for nearly as long. Austin abruptly dropped the re-election race for Democrat ward committee person in her ward, the 34th, yesterday. According to the Chicago Board of Election Commissioners, Austin was determined to have been about 400 valid signatures shy of the minimum requirement for her nominating petitions to get on the ballot in March. You may recall, FBI agents raided Austin's ward office earlier this year, but she's not been charged with any crime so far. Looking back at one of our biggest and still developing local stories in our AM 560 newsroom in 2019, second deadly crash involving the Boeing 737 MAX airliner caused that plane to be grounded around the world in March. President Trump announced that grounding.
They are working very, very hard right now. Hopefully they'll very quickly come up with the answer, but until they do, the planes are grounded.
Popular plane is still not operational following that March crash in Ethiopia that left 157 dead. Patrick Kane headed to his 9th All-Star game. Last night, Giannis with 23 and had 10 rebounds in his return to the lineup as the Bulls fell to the Bucks 123-102. Bulls head coach Jim Boylan says the game simply got away from his team.
I thought we had a good second quarter. We got ourselves back in the game and battled back, and then I thought they punched us pretty hard in the third, took control of the game, and I didn't like the way we responded, and that's what I talked to the team about after the game.
Zach LaVine had a team-high 19. Chase Garbers threw for 4 touchdowns and ran for another as Cal beat Illinois 35-20 in the Red Box Bowl in Santa Clara, California. College hoops, DePaul fell to Seton Hall 74-66. Loyola topped Valpo 66-63. The news service of Mattress Firm. It's the year-end sale at Mattress Firm. Shop now. Save up to $600 when you get a king bed for the price of a queen or a queen for the price of a twin. Plus, get a free adjustable base when you spend just $4.99. 5:07, and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager still doesn't understand the impeachment.
No member came here to impeach the president. How does she say that with a straight face? But truth is not a left-wing value. What they always say he violated the Constitution, but what did he violate in the Constitution? Has there ever been an impeachment where only one party wanted the president impeached? No. This is unprecedented.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 4343 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 4343. Enjoy.
Names matter. Your name, the name you've made for yourself, and the name of the company you represent. Because of you, they're names people can trust. That's why at 4imprint, every name and logo is printed with certainty. We pay attention to every detail because we know the way your name appears is the way it's remembered. So you'll know for certain that every item, from the right apparel to the most popular tech items, will be right the first time, on time, every time, at a great price, guaranteed. Because when you have passion, integrity, and certainty, the only name they'll remember is yours. Explore thousands of promotional products at 4imprint.com. That's the number 4, imprint.com. 4imprint. For certain.
It's the year-end sale at Mattress Firm. Shop now and save up to $600 when you get a king bed for the price of a queen or a queen for the price of a twin. Plus, get a free adjustable base when you spend just $4.99.
5:10 in the AM 560 Traffic Center. One final time in 2019. Jim Telemonte.
We have lots of crashes to report this morning with snow-covered roadways. Eden's outbound near Tower Road. There's a collision. 2 left lanes are blocked there. Also have a crash to report on the Tri-State Tollway northbound near Lake Hook. That has 2 left lanes blocked. And northbound near Bradley Road, farther north, there's a collision. 2 right lanes are closed. Eastbound Adams Tollway near Barrington Road, there's a wreck in the right lane. There's a stall westbound near Barrington in the right lane. I-65 northbound, traffic is slow, 205th Avenue and 30 due to the road conditions. Metro has an early getaway schedule, but the South Shore line has its regular weekday schedule today. That's traffic. I'm Jim Alamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center and our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Flurries this morning, otherwise clouds and breezy, high 31. Patchy clouds tonight, low 22. Sunny and breezy tomorrow, the high 40. Some sun Thursday morning, then turning cloudy and milder, the high at 45. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer. 25 at O'Hare, 26 Lakefront. Your next news update is at 5:30, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts next on AM 560, The Answer.
A business needs to be built on a great foundation. one with the framework of integrity and tradition. Chapel Design Build delivers just that, providing design build and general contracting services using Butler Steel Building Systems. Their projects dot the landscape from O'Hare to DeKalb. You see their work in office and warehouse additions, recreational facilities, large-scale distribution centers, and manufacturing plants all over northern Illinois. Partnering with Butler Steel Buildings, Chapel Design Build has developed an extensive subcontractor base and valuable market knowledge to get your quality-built project completed on time and on budget, ensuring your project is a success for your business and one that you will be proud of for years to come. The goal is to build lasting relationships with their clients using buildings that last from Butler. Get started on your next building project built with Butler Steel. Visit chapeldb.com. That's Chapel D as in design, B as in build.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Secure Retirement Radio with host Raj Shah. Sunday mornings at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan, and in for Amy this morning is Sean from Elmwood Park. And Sean, we find out who the hero at that church in White Settlement, Texas was yesterday. It's a guy named Jack Wilson.
I like him.
Watched him?
Yeah, oh yeah, love him. Very casual.
Jack Wilson talking to the assembled press corps, no uncertain terms about what went down and the shot he took to put down the shooter inside that church.
You mentioned that you took a pause because there were people in the area.
And there were people in front of me between the shooter and myself trying to get, because the chaos that erupted when he shot the first time, some of the people stood up and were trying to get in the way. I had to wait just a second because the whole thing was less than 6 seconds from start to finish. And, that was, I had to make sure I didn't hit it, someone, a member there, as they were right in front of me. There was no verbal communication out of him whatsoever at that point. He was down, he was bleeding profusely, and the only movement was, just body twitching, which, happens, when someone
little death rattle
in that condition where they're
twitching, flipping.
The rounds that put him down were yours.
Yeah, there was only one. I only fired one round, and it was, the only shot I had, which, was a headshot. Which, in my classes I teach not to take headshots, but that was what I felt. That's the only shot I had a clear shot, and I was comfortable taking the shot.
Clearly.
I don't see myself as a hero. I see myself as doing what needed to be done to take out the evil threat. That's the way I approach it. That is, like I said earlier, that's how I am, processing this whole event.
Did you ever run into somebody you shouldn't have effed with? Yeah, that's Jack Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
One shot from 50 feet, headshot, puts him down, whole thing 6 seconds. Jack Wilson saving the lives of dozens, who knows how many of the congregants in church on Sunday.
Did you watch the video?
Yeah.
Because there was more than him that pulled out guns.
There was a second individual pulled out gun, but it was his shot that put down the shooter, as he said, one and done. Jack Wilson, he's running for county commissioner where he lives in Tarrant County.
Are they even going to have the election now?
His campaign slogan is, make sure your vote is on target. Tell me that God didn't put Jack Wilson in that place at that time. And interestingly, he went on to post on his campaign Facebook page. I just want to thank all who have sent their prayers and comments on the events today. The events at West Freeway Church of Christ put me in a position that I would hope no one would ever have to be in. But evil exists, and I had to take out an active shooter in church. I'm thankful to God that I've been blessed with the ability and desire to serve him in the role of head of security at the church. I'm very sad in the loss of two dear friends and brothers in Christ, but evil does exist in this world, and I and other members are not going to allow evil to succeed. Please pray for all the members and their families in this time. Thank you for your prayers and understanding.
Now, you're a political genius of sorts. How do you run against him?
you
what do you think that guy's doing today?
you immediately concede the race and
Yeah.
throw your support to Jack
Hope
Wilson.
he gives you one of those phony baloney government jobs.
Now, compare this, by the way, to the press reporting on this. Reuters, here we go again. Your D.C. press corps. Again, how dare you suggest sloppiness, agendas, attacks, a total lack of understanding and an uninterest in understanding things they don't understand, like, for example, Second Amendment rights in this country. The Reuters headline, gunman in Texas church shooting owned gun range gave lessons, state prosecutor. So, according to a state prosecutor. They later had to slightly correct that story. The previous story and headline by Reuters read that the gunman owned a shooting range and gave lessons, which was incorrect. In fact, the man who took down the gunman was the one who was the firearms instructor. So we said the firearms instructor was the shooter. In point of fact, it turned out to be the hero. We regret the 180-degree error, which you see all too often from the press corps generally and with respect to these stories specifically, where you have a good guy with a gun do something heroic to save lives.
It's the holiday season, but did you really expect miracles? Did you think that this kind of an outlet or really any political body for that matter would say, hey, we're wrong, we admit we're wrong, and we apologize?
Yeah.
You have to admire it.
But here's the basis of it. You know, because these people all live in the same newsrooms. They live inside the same bubble. L.A. Times op-ed from November of 2017 after the Sutherland Springs church shooting. Tom Nichols. Every disaster brings out human irrationality. When there's a plane crash, we fear flying. When there's a rare disease emerges, we fear we'll be infected. And when there's a mass shooting in a church, we think we should bring more guns into churches, or at least some people think so. This is a completely irrational response to the tragedy in Texas this week, but it's being pushed by people for whom more guns is always the right answer to gun violence. Well, I'll tell you what, I think there's a lot of congregants to that church in White Settlement, Texas, that are happy that the response was to what happened in Sutherland Springs, to the response to what's happening in our society writ large, was for somebody who was trained in self-defense, trained in firearms, to be present to stop what could have been much worse than it already was.
You know, although I torture myself and I do watch some news, I like to get everything on YouTube or various outlets. And yesterday, because I wanted to see the shooting,
usually mostly in cartoon form.
Mostly in cartoons.
Yeah.
I wanted to see it yesterday, so I went on to YouTube. And do you realize when I pulled it up, there's like the first four are different commentators, you know, kids mainly who have their own YouTube channel, making fun of the fact that this guy and other people brought guns into church, regardless of the fact that they saved countless lives. Because you realize, I think he shot two people. Did you see the grandson of the first man he shot at point-blank range?
Two people were murdered.
It's horrific. And the idea that this is not getting the kind of attention for the fact, undeniable fact, that that man having a gun in church saved countless lives.
Bobby O'Rourke took to Twitter to comment.
Oh, moron that he is. I mean, is he ever going to go away?
Damn right we're going to take your AR-15s, Jack Wilson, Stephen Williford. So saddened to hear about another church shooting in Texas, this one in White Settlement near Fort Worth. Clearly what we are doing in Texas, what we are doing in this country when it comes to guns is not working.
It's just so, it's their entire agenda is like this. In the face of wrong, they insist they're right. You're actually wrong right now. Now you're right.
Who is
being married?
Who is irrational? I mean, who is irrational? Don't forget, this is that tweet from Bobby O. Comes from the same organization, political party, that has a burgeoning abolish the police movement. So, again, please lecture me on rationality.
Oh, I hope they do. I hope they do abolish the police.
In a related story, the Babylon Bee had this exclusive retrospective on Bobby O. El Paso man comes down from insane acid trip where he hallucinated that he ran for president. It's nice to see the Babylon Bee moving beyond parody into doing actual hard news.
Uh-huh.
Mike in Union, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, guys. Hey, if this guy would have survived being shot and lived in New York, would he have qualified for a $50 voucher and been released on bond? Just wanted to know what.
Yes, absolutely, and 2 cell phones.
1 cell phone, 2 debit cards for $50 and a Metro Pass.
Yeah, see.
And a hey, you stop that criminal stuff.
And a manual on how to distribute drugs.
We'll get to that at the bottom of the 5 o'clock hour.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
If you have pain, I hope you listen up. Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. You don't need to live in pain. Let me repeat that. You do not have to live in pain. Chronic pain is the worst, whether it's from an accident or pain that just develops. Chicagoland, you're in luck. Dr. Ken Candido is one of the nation's most respected and successful pain doctors. He's been voted one of Chicago's best pain doctors several times. Bottom line, he's the pain doctor you need. Dr. Candido of Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists will help you get off pain medication and all of the side effects. How? By finding the source of your chronic pain and fixing it.
This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. Let's make you pain-free.
Call Dr. Ken Candido and make an appointment with a cutting-edge, respected, and successful pain physician. Go to mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com. Thousands have been helped with their chronic pain, and you could be the next one. Get the phone number and all the info you need at mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com.
The American economy remains strong, and both business owners and employees are enjoying the benefits. Here at AM 560, we want to celebrate the businesses that are thriving. Are you a business owner who's part of this great American success story? If so, we want to hear from you. Once again, we're taking this show out on the road, and we'll be broadcasting from Chicagoland businesses that are enjoying success despite being in Chicagoland as they serve their customers and clients through the hard work of their employees. We want to hear your story, share your success, and find out what makes your business run. It's the Signature Bank Business Tour. To submit your business for consideration, just go to businessbanktour.com. That's businessbanktour.com, and we might be broadcasting from your location in the near future.
Are you tired of paying another mortgage payment for your health insurance? Did you know you're not locked into your current health plan? With non-Obamacare health plans, you may save 25 to 50% or more each month. Contact SVL Insurance Group. They recently helped a healthy family of 5 who were paying $1,800 per month for health insurance using a well-known regional insurance carrier. SVL Insurance Group was able to lower their premium to $750 per month and pick up additional coverage. There are no open enrollment periods, which means you can start or stop your health plan any time of the year. You can also cancel anytime. 2019 has been a remarkable year with the expansion of product portfolios from many insurance carriers. With the elimination of the individual mandate, you're now free to choose any health insurance plan for you and your family without the added stress of a yearly penalty. Contact SVL Insurance Group today to have a conversation and see what's best for your family. Call 224-465-8276. That's 224-465-8276. Online at svlinsurancegroup.com.
I'm Dan Proft.
And I'm Amy Jacobson.
And if you're a small business owner or you make the marketing or advertising decisions for a business, then listen up.
Once again, our annual Food for the Poor campaign is underway to raise money to feed families fleeing from the socialist crisis in Venezuela. These families are now in Colombia and are starving. And our good friends at Food for the Poor are working with partners on the ground at feeding centers to make sure these families survive.
And here's how your business can be a part of the solution. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor. Just make a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor, and AM 560 will give you 40 60-second commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday to Friday at no additional cost to you.
Dan, that's the best advertising deal in all of Chicago. Through the generosity of your business, you'll be helping 8 families. To take advantage of this deal, just call Anjanette Nakowski at 847-472-8951. That's 847-472-8951. One more time, 847-472-8951.
AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Sean from EP in for Amy J. And we're talking about Jack Wilson, the hero of that church shooting in White Settlement, Texas. Lewis on the south side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan, and good morning to your guests. My question is, which answer sounds the most correct? The Republicans' answer, one shot, one kill, or the Democratic answer, run and hide in place?
Yeah, well,
Depends if you're talking about taxes or threats.
I hope that's a rhetorical question. I assume it is. Thanks for the call, Lewis. Yeah, throw the prayer hymnals at them. Throw the prayer hymnals at the shooters. Isn't that what they're doing in schools? Throw textbooks at the shooter. Barricade yourself in, and if you're confronted, throw a textbook or a pencil case.
I mean, how long are we going to have that naive solution for problems of let's just try and get along with the wrong answers? I mean, until you start rejecting wrong answers, you're going to have big problems, man.
And
it's with everything.
And realizing the fundamental issue, and the fundamental issue is, as the minister at the church said, as Jack Wilson said, as others have said in the context of other shootings, as I try to emphasize in the context of these horrific events, there is evil in this world. You may never, and hopefully you will never have to be confronted with it the way that those congregants at the synagogue in New York were confronted, or those congregants in the church outside of Fort Worth were confronted. But if and when you are, do you want to be in a position to protect yourself, your loved ones, and others or not? Simple question.
And the other thing that I can't help but notice is that some people want to stop it and other people want to profit from it.
Profit politically.
Correct. In every way. By the time they're done with this, there will be an entire wing, an entire administration of how to convert bad people into good people. And by the way, it needs to be funded by $1 trillion a year.
Well,
that's the main goal.
I'll tell you, there is pushback even in blue states like Virginia, pushing back against KKK Northam. That's the governor there. He likes to play dress up, in case you forgot. But he's absolved because he's a leftist who wants to ban guns. Virginia's for gun grabbers under Northam.
What do you mean dress up? What are you talking about? I'm ignorant to this.
Ralph Northam?
Yeah, what's he do? Does he prance around in costumes?
The KKK controversy.
Oh, yeah. He's a Democrat, though. That's all right.
So he allocates more money to the Department of Corrections in anticipation of jailing gun owners under the new gun control laws that he and the Democrats in Virginia passed. That's running up against some resistance. Proponents of a gun sanctuary movement urging active resistance to proposals in Richmond and frankly, citing arguments that provided the intellectual foundation for the American Revolution. 12-page memo, both in defense of the state gun sanctuary movement that has been adopted by 114 counties and communities, and a challenge to the opinion of Virginia Attorney General Mark Herring that the sanctuaries have no legal effect. That's what's circulating, like Cato's letters, as it were. Also, to give you one example, the Virginia Beach City Council is going to hold a pair of special sessions next week to discuss becoming a Second Amendment constitutional city. Second Amendment constitutional city. It's interesting because that same movement is afoot in this state. You wouldn't know it up here in Chicagoland, but there are counties in the wake of us becoming a sanctuary state for people here illegally. There are counties throughout central and southern Illinois that pass resolutions declaring themselves a sanctuary state from the gun grabbers in Chicago who lord over this state.
Which, by the way, I'm watching the 4 o'clock news yesterday, and the first 7 minutes are about new crimes committed by almost there's no other way to explain them bands of criminals where they're young kids between 15 and 18 literally running through the city assaulting people. And there is no, in my opinion, there is no separation between the growth of that and the acceptance of our government to say you cannot arm yourselves in this community, and you're seeing the ramifications.
Not to mention defanging of the police by the civilian political leaders in the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. Bill on the west side.
Yeah, how you doing, Dan? What's going on?
Good.
A couple little things here. The first thing is, I did watch this Texas shooting very closely. If you noticed in the media that the first, their important topics that they started to cover were the stabbings at the synagogue. That was very important for them to hit. They brushed over this Texas shooting until it started to catch some legs here under it. more people became aware that there were 5 or 6 different people that were armed in that congregation and took that shooter down. The media didn't want anything to do with it. And I'll guarantee you that the numbers of people pulling up this article were off the roof, and that, then they decided to advertise it a little bit more.
Thanks for the call, Bill. We got to go, but I appreciate that. You're right about the emphasis, not to take anything away from the importance of the New York synagogue attack, because it's important, so important that we're going to talk to Deborah Lipstadt. She's a professor of Holocaust history at Emory University. That's at 5:38, but now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
Dan, Sean, good morning. Good morning, everyone. 25 degrees and snow, and America's ambassador to Iraq has been evacuated in an emergency fashion from the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, as protesters have broken down the front gates of that compound. Iraqi foreign ministry officials say the ambassador and others were taken out of the embassy before thousands of protesters broke down the main gate. Seattle public school students will have to be vaccinated by January 8th, or they simply will not be allowed back in school. School system says around 2,000 students still need to have their immunization records updated. Texas faith community remembering the 2 victims of Sunday's church shooting near Fort Worth. Pastor Britt Farmer spoke with the gathered congregation.
Pray for me and for all of our family here that lost these 2 great men. Pray for our church.
Candlelight vigil was held outside of the West Freeway Church of Christ last night, honoring worshipers killed by the gunman during a Sunday morning service. Uber and delivery company Postmates going on the offensive in California, suing over a new law that would reclassify contractors for the companies as employees. Law goes into effect tomorrow. That would fundamentally change the relationship between companies like Uber and the people who drive for them. Following snow overnight and this morning, New Year's Eve forecast for Chicago, and the National Weather Service calls for skies on the clearing side, but some wind tonight for the fireworks displays around the Chicago River and at Navy Pier. Legal marijuana sales in Illinois set to begin New Year's Day. However, marijuana will continue to be illegal in Indiana and Wisconsin, and police say don't bring it there. They'll be on the lookout for those transporting or driving while buzzed. Bulls fall to the Bucks 123-102. Cal beat the Fighting Illini in the Red Box Bowl 35-20. College hoops, DePaul over Seton Hall. DePaul fell to Seton Hall. Loyola topped Valpo. 5:34, and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity sees a robust economy.
You can't contradict that these are the best numbers of our lives.
So it was Jim Cramer, and he said no matter what you think of the president, there's no denying we are living in the best labor market in more than a generation. Well, we already know that. We've never had a better employment situation in the country than we do now.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. Let's talk credit card debt for a minute. If you feel you're carrying too much of it, you're not alone. The average household in the U.S. carries over $8,000 in credit card debt. Ready for some good news? With a cash-out refinance from Quicken Loans, you can quickly and easily put some of the equity in your home to good use by paying off a lot of that high-interest credit card debt. A great way to take cash out is with our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.99%. APR 4.23%. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN to learn how taking cash out with a 30-year fixed mortgage might be the right solution for you. And for a record 10 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Rates subject to change. Pay 2% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Message and data rates may apply. Individual results vary. Exclusions apply.
Contacts and glasses are such a hassle. I'd love to finally get LASIK, but
I'm going to stop you right there. If you want LASIK, then the LASIK Vision Institute has officially taken away everything standing in your way.
Isn't LASIK expensive?
Not at the LASIK Vision Institute. We're offering dramatically low prices, as low as $220 per eye, and an absolutely free consultation. See for free if LASIK is right for you by texting LIKE to 350350.
But I'm really busy.
A text only takes seconds. The LASIK procedure typically only takes 15 minutes, and most patients can get back to work the following day. The LASIK Vision Institute uses the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology that helps the majority of patients achieve 20/20 vision for as little as $220 per eye. Dr. Greenberg has performed 75,000 laser eye surgeries and is one of the most experienced LASIK surgeons in Chicago.
What's that text again?
Text LIKE to 350350. That's LIKE to 350350 to schedule your free consultation today.
5:37 AM 560 traffic center time, and Jim Telemonti.
And lots of people are spending the last quarter of 2019 dealing with crashes on the roadways. Quite a few, including one in Downers Grove, reported on Butterfield at Highland. Speeds are reduced on the expressways and tollways. Collision on the inbound Kennedy at Fullerton just cleared. So we see no significant congestion on the Kennedy or the Edens now. Speeds are reduced with the snow. The Eisenhower, the Stevenson, and the Pride are okay. No congestion to report on I-57 Fishing Ford Freeway. Northbound Tri-State traffic's heavy from 60 Town Line to Bradley. There was an earlier crash there. Speeds are severely reduced on I-65 northbound from Merrillville up to Toll Road. That's traffic. I'm Jim Telemonti on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center, flurries this morning, otherwise cloudy, breezy, and 31. Patchy clouds and 22 overnight. Currently 25. Next news coming up at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the IRS Radio Hour with Stephen Leahy. Every Sunday afternoon at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy J is Sean from Elmwood Park, and updating Tiffany Harris's soon-to-become legendary tour through the New York City criminal justice system. She was back in a Brooklyn criminal court for the second time in 3 days. This after she allegedly slugged a woman in the face, a Jewish woman in the face, in front of the victim's 2 young children in Prospect Heights on Sunday. This arraignment had a similar outcome to the one that happened a day earlier for slapping 3 Orthodox Jewish women in Crown Heights on Friday while yelling "F you Jews." Busy weekend. The prosecutor to the judge, we're here 2 days after the defendant was here on another charge. We believe the highest level of supervised release is appropriate. The highest level of supervised release was granted by the judge, which requires Ms. Harris to check in periodically with a social worker, but nonetheless, under the bail reform, in quotation marks, instituted in New York State by those who you were here offering their pro forma condolences and expressions of outrage, Andrew Cuomo, Bill de Blasio, over the weekend in the response to the synagogue attack in Muncie. Harris walks back out onto New York City streets without putting up a dime of bail, pleading not guilty to misdemeanor charges, including assault in the 3rd degree, menacing, and endangering the welfare of a child. That is not sitting too well across the political spectrum, unified by a disgust for the violence being directed particularly in New York, particularly against Jewish people, particularly in the last 2 weeks, but it's been going on for some time, as has been pointed out by many commentators. Jonathan Greenblatt, who is the CEO of the ADL, Anti-Defamation League, was on CNN to address that bail reform measure that is governing in cases like the Tiffany Harris one.
I feel very strongly about criminal justice reform. And we've talked about things like, and you've seen politicians like Governor Cuomo talk about bail reform, which is really important. If you jump a turnstile or you shoplift a pack of chewing gum, I'm not sure bail is the most important thing. But if you brutalize a person because of the way they pray, if you attack an individual because of where they're from, that should not be something where you're immediately getting released without bail.
And just contrast the Tiffany Harris case, and there are others. We talked about it a bit yesterday, but contrast what's going on in New York City to even Seattle, hardly a bastion of conservatism and a pro-law enforcement sentiment. A Seattle man charged Monday with a hate crime after police say he attacked 2 Korean tourists because of their race, nationality, and ancestry. The 30-year-old followed a group of Korean men visiting Seattle, attacked them near a movie theater. He yelled, apparently, allegedly, "I hate Chinese" and "effing Chinese," and cowered at the group. He was arrested later the night after also stealing 2 umbrellas from the valet station at a local hotel and trying to smash a hotel window. So there was some vandalism and theft in addition to his attack on these gentlemen in Seattle. His bail, $15,000. The individual had a number of warrants for his arrest over the last several years. He's been convicted of felony assault previously, but Tiffany Harris has also had many run-ins with the law. $15,000 bond in Seattle. You take a walk, and per Bill de Blasio, you get a Metro card, you get $50 in debit cards, and you get a burner cell phone as well.
Yeah. Crime Kit 101.
Something wrong with that. For more on this topic globally, we're pleased to be joined by Deborah Lipstadt. She is a professor of Holocaust history at Emory University and also the author of Antisemitism Here and Now. Professor Lipstadt, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Why don't we just start? I mean, this is parochial, but it's important because it's important enough for Jonathan Greenblatt to point it out and others. That bail reform measure in New York State and how that's playing out in cases where you have individuals allegedly committing hate crimes against Jews.
Well, I don't think the most important thing is bail reform, but certainly in this case, I agree completely with Jonathan Greenblatt. You know, if you jump a turnstile, you steal a pack of gum, it's neither good for the person, the alleged perpetrator, nor for the system to put them, to start with bail. But if someone is going to hit someone in the street, especially in front of 2 small children, and attack them, the street is not the place for them. And I think that's a serious thing and something that has to be addressed as New York enters with this new bail reform system.
I'm sorry. The larger point that Greenblatt made was a suggestion that anti-Semitism is being normalized, and that's what troubles him.
Yes,
most.
Exactly right. I don't know whether there are more anti-Semites around now than there used to be. I wrote a book on this. It came out about 9 months ago, Anti-Semitism Here and Now. I spent the previous 3 years researching it, and since it's come out, I've been totally immersed in this topic. And as someone with that experience, I cannot tell you whether there are more anti-Semites. But what I can tell you, and it's exactly what you just said and what Jonathan Greenblatt was speaking to, that the anti-Semites feel emboldened. They feel it's all right to go and slap a mother in her face. It's all right to go and take a brick and knock out a Hasidic or Jew, a man who was who was obviously a Jew, and knock his teeth out. Or now, in the worst case that we've seen, Jersey City, go into a a grocery store and shoot up people, or go into a home where Hanukkah is being celebrated, a rabbi's home, and with a machete and stab people. So they feel emboldened. It's on both the far right and the left. We do not look only in one political direction, but it is becoming normalized.
I have a question. I've been paying attention to this for, my adult life, the last 35 plus years. And over the last 2 decades, I've noticed there's been a big push by government to let me know that minorities cannot be racist. That has been an overwhelming push that I've noticed. And I can't help but notice as I'm reading these stories that these crimes are perpetrated by more and more minorities.
Well, I think you're right that there is And that's what makes some of these more recent crimes, Jersey City, Muncie, the events in Crown Heights, were perpetrated by minorities. But let's also remember that Pittsburgh, the biggest massacre of Jews in the United States ever, Poway, which but for a jammed gun and an inexperienced assailant, inexperienced when it comes to guns, would have been a disaster. Halle in Germany, where on Yom Kippur, but for a bolt on the door, there would have been a massacre of Jews. Those all came from white men on the right. So I think to turn this into a minority thing, not to say that there's not a problem there and there's not a situation which has to be addressed and addressed very seriously, but addressed also with sensitivity. And by sensitivity, I don't mean hiding from the fact, but what can be done to stop this. I want to be careful in just looking at the events that have taken place that have been committed by or allegedly committed by members of minorities.
Right. I mean, I think the difference, I think, is that there's no problem, there's no controversy in addressing the scourge of white supremacist violence. But there is a real reticence to address, and this was a point that was made by Dov Hikind over the weekend on Fox News, former New York State Assemblyman. There's a real reticence to address sort of some of the hatefulness coming out of certain individuals in certain neighborhoods. And I mean, there was a really disturbing video after that kosher market shooting in Jersey City, where a Jewish gentleman representing an advocacy group went to interview a bunch of the residents of Jersey City, and the really despicable anti-Semitic things that were being said by black residents of Jersey City about their Jewish neighbors is not something that people should turn a blind eye to. And I think that was Dov Hikind's point.
Right, not at all. But I think, and I'm not making immoral equivalencies here, nor am I in any manner, shape, or form in any way justifying these attacks. They're horrible. They're unforgivable. These people shouldn't be out on the street on bail or no bail or whatever. But there are often problems when these two communities, blacks and ultra-Orthodox Jews, live in close proximity. There's very little interaction between them. And I'm going to say something which I'm not a New Yorker, but my family is from New York. I'm in New York all the time, and I follow New York very closely, which I never thought I would say. But it seems to me I heard a good idea from Bill de Blasio in this recent event, which might work. That they're going to create citizens patrols of mixed Jews and African Americans patrolling together.
Yeah.
It can't become seen as an assault of one group on the other. If it is, we'll never resolve the problem, and these two communities will continue to live next to each other. If that happens, and it happens in a constructive way and not just in a way to show off for the press and then it goes away, that might be useful. You are absolutely right, there's a serious problem here, and it has to be addressed, because otherwise it's just going to get worse.
What about the political discourse? Now, I'm not one to blame a politician's rhetoric for the violent actions of somebody else, so I'm not getting into that at all. But in terms of just the quality of the rhetoric coming from certain quarters as it pertains to these issues, and just to give you an example to make my point and get your reaction, the day after the stabbing attack in Muncie, New York, Rashida Tlaib sent out a fundraising email blaming the far-right government of Israel for Jim Crow-style policies against Palestinians and black Israelis.
Mm-hmm. I think that kind of stuff is just stupid. It's inflammatory and it's stupid. Look, there were people who said, "Oh, this is all the fault of the Trump administration," and then there are people on the far right when these things happen in Pittsburgh, they say it's all the fault of the far left. I think people who only look on one side of the transom, in other words, if you're on the right and you only see it on the left, or if you're on the left and you only see it on the right, then you've got a blinder on and you're not being helpful. And this kind of rhetoric, such as that you cited, is very dangerous. I think the thing to remember is that every genocide whether it was against Jews, whether it was against Armenian Christians, whether it was against Muslims, no matter where, whether it was in Africa, in Rwanda, in Europe, in the Holocaust, in Turkey, in the Armenian genocide, begins with words. Words count. Words matter. It always begins with words. So if you hear someone say something to them, challenge them, tell them that's not true, call them out. I don't care if you're on the right, I don't care if you're on the left, I don't care what your political views are. We've got to call out this scourge, otherwise it's only going to get worse.
Very good. She is Deborah Lipstadt. She's a professor of Holocaust history at Emory University and the author of Antisemitism, Here and Now. Professor Lipstadt, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, and thank you for addressing this topic. It's important.
Pleasure. Happy New Year to you. And she joined us on the Turnkey.Pro answer line.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
You probably don't realize this, but between you and your employer, you've contributed as much as 12.4% of your earnings to Social Security, and you've been doing this since your very first paycheck as a kid. Add it up over 40 or 50 years, and it could make your 401k contributions look like chump change. But there's one big problem. Claiming your Social Security benefits is complicated, confusing, and riddled with trapdoors. Hi, this is Tom Fortino. According to PBS and Boston University professor Lawrence Kotlikoff, the Social Security Handbook has 2,278 separate rules governing its benefits, and it has thousands upon thousands of explanations of those rules. Talk about a user's nightmare. Learn how you can help get what's yours. The answers are in our new reports on maximizing your Social Security benefit. It includes little-known strategies that could earn you tens of thousands of dollars more, even as much as $100,000 over your lifetime. This could be a game changer. Call right now to receive this information. 630-519-4742. That's 630-519-4742.
Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, Inc.
Christmas, a beautiful time of the year to create memories with your family and friends. So why not start a new holiday family tradition with a ride to Gobert's Pumpkin Patch in Pingree Grove? Experience the wonder of their annual Christmas light show. From the cozy comfort of your vehicle, you'll drive through a path featuring over 2 million dazzling LED lights choreographed to your favorite holiday tunes. Tickets are available at the entrance or purchase in advance at GobertsPumpkinPatch.com. Entry fee is $5 per person or a max of $20 per car. Special rates are available for oversized vehicles. Open 6 nights a week, closed on Mondays. Be sure to visit GobertsPumpkinPatch.com for hours and details. Look for the glow of the lights off I-90 and Route 47. Follow Gobert's Pumpkin Patch on Facebook for up-to-date information and events. And if Santa brings you an engagement ring, let Gobert's help arrange a magical wedding experience right on the farm. From the Gobert's family to your family, wishing you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson to talk about my incredible experience with Online Trading Academy. I signed up for my own free class, and you can too. You'll be introduced to skills to take control of your financial future. You'll learn the right moves to make when the economy turns and how to spend less time worrying about life and more time living it. You know, no one else will ever care about your financial future as much as you do. It's time for you to start learning how to invest in you. Seats are limited. Just call 844-778-7132 to attend and get 2 free passes to their next class so you can check this all out. And if you call right now, they will send you home with their Professionals Insider Kit. It's loaded with exclusive investing courses and some of their best lessons from the pros. This is a limited opportunity and seats go quickly, so call 844-778-7132. That's 844-778-7132, or visit them online at otaclass.com, otaclass.com.
Christmas is right around the corner, and it's time to be home for the holidays. Why not purchase a new lift chair recliner from Mars Medical for your spouse or favorite relative to rest in after your big Christmas dinner? Mars Medical in New Lenox has 7 models currently in stock to choose from, starting at just $629. Now through December 31st, Mars Medical is giving away a free hurricane for every new lift chair purchase. That's a $39.95 value. Mars Medical also has monthly monthly rentals for lift chairs available if needed for your holiday visitors. Financing available on any purchases over $200 at Mars Medical through Care Credit. Remember, lift chairs make great Christmas gifts for your loved ones. So get to Mars Medical today and have your new lift chair in time for the holidays. Mars Medical on the north side of Route 30 between Cedar and Vine Road in New Lenox, or go online to marsmedicalsupply.com. Mars Medical, customer care that is out of this world.
This is Albert Mohler for townhall.com. 2019 was a year marked by what did happen and by what didn't. The year did begin with a massive budget showdown and a government shutdown. It didn't end that way, and instead Republicans and Democrats joined together in a massive increase in federal spending. It was a year that saw a 16-year-old Swedish climate activist declare herself a child and demand that world leaders and the United Nations give her a platform. They did. It was the year that one of the most historic symbols of Western civilization, Paris's Notre Dame Cathedral, did burn, but it didn't fall. It was the year that the House of Representatives did vote to impeach President Trump. But when it came time to forward the articles of impeachment to the Senate for a trial, Speaker Nancy Pelosi didn't, or at least hasn't. Altogether, it was a strange year of dids and didn'ts. In any event, it is now history. I'm Albert Mohler.
The Pepperdine School of Public Policy. Learn more at publicpolicy.pepperdine.edu. AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy this morning, Sean from Elmwood Park, who, of course, is a patron of the arts.
Yeah.
That's why I thought this story would interest you.
So if it wasn't for me, would you have watched Pavarotti yesterday? You wouldn't have. So how about a little respect?
I would watch the documentary Pavarotti. Yeah, one of the great regrets in life, never being able to see Pavarotti in person.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. You could have, and you blew it?
Blew it.
Not too smart there, huh?
Backed by musicians from the Paris Symphony Orchestra, the ballet dancers performed an impromptu 20-minute rendition before hundreds of onlookers. Behind them were banners reading "Culture in Danger." You know why the culture is in danger? Because the ballerinas from the state-financed dance company in Paris are in danger of losing their full pension at age of 42.
Come on. Everybody knows if you're a dancer and you want to make money, you become a stripper.
If Macron pushes ahead with planned overhaul of the French pension system, ballerinas included, will have to wait till 64 before they can access their pensions. And so now they're on strike with other public sector workers.
Or they could come to Illinois and pretend to be state workers who are supposed to be plowing in those orange pension incubators that are doing nothing today. Cars are crashing all over the place.
Well, this is the most stylish, at least, union strike you'll ever see. A bunch of people doing Swan Lake,
finally
protesting for their pension. Coming up at 6:06, the most admired man and woman in America, who they are and who they should be at 6:06. Now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
Start of a new decade being celebrated in Chicago tonight. Chicago families unhappy with a manslaughter charge. Bulls lose to the Bucks. Kane named to the NHL All-Star team. Fighting Illini fall to Cal in the Red Box Bowl. Flurries continue this morning. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
The U.S. Embassy in Iraq stormed by protesters. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. And they are angry at America. Some of them have even made their way inside. Reuters reports the U.S. ambassador has been evacuated.
Hundreds of Iraqi demonstrators have stormed the U.S. embassy in Baghdad. All of this in response to U.S. airstrikes on Sunday that killed at least 25 militants of the Iranian-backed Iraqi Shia militia group Kataib Hezbollah. This is very concerning to American forces in the region. There's more than 5,000 right now who are working along Iraqi security forces to push back against the Islamic State remnants across the region.
Fox's Trey Yingst, an AP reporter at the scene at the embassy, has heard gunfire and says tear gas has also been used after protesters smashed a main door and set fire to a reception area. There were vigils last night in West Settlement, Texas, for the two worshipers murdered during a Sunday service. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton praised the armed churchgoer, part of a volunteer security team who shot and killed the shooter within seconds.
We can't prevent every incident. We can't prevent mental illness from occurring, and we can't
prevent every crazy person from pulling a gun, but we can be prepared like this church was.
Democrats are renewing calls for stricter gun laws. The man accused in Saturday night's stabbing spree at a rabbi's home in Muncie, New York, during a Hanukkah celebration wounding 5 people, has now also been charged with federal hate crimes. Prosecutors say they recovered handwritten journals with references to Hitler. But Grafton Thomas's attorney Michael Sussman says
there is no suggestion in any of those ramblings and pages of writing of an anti-Semitic motive.
Instead, he says Thomas is mentally ill, wants him evaluated. They are mourning a police officer's death in Hendersonville, Tennessee, hit by a car and killed while running after and chasing a suspect across a busy highway last night. That suspect and another man were later arrested. America's listening to Fox News.
25 degrees and snow showers at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Following a winter blast overnight and early this morning, it's on to New Year's Eve. A National Weather Service calling for clearing skies and a little bit of wind. Plenty of revelers also expected downtown tonight. Fireworks displays planned along the Chicago River and at Navy Pier. And in response, about 1,300 additional Chicago police officers are expected to be spread across the city in uniform this New Year's Eve. A 6-year-old boy reportedly wounded in a shooting in South Chicago. Yesterday, around 5:15, the boy was struck in the arm near 83rd and Exchange and was rushed by a family member to Comer Children's Hospital this morning in fair condition. Chicago Alderman Carrie Austin will stand for re-election as a city council member, as she has since 1994, but she is exiting the re-election race for a position she's held nearly as long. Austin abruptly yesterday dropped the re-election bid for Democratic Ward Committee person in the 34th. According to the Board of Election Commissioners, Austin was about 400 valid signatures short of the minimum requirement for her nominating petitions to get on the ballot in March. This morning, Bradley University's president is responding to recent crime sprees on campus. Gary Roberts sending out a letter saying there will be an increased police presence on campus when classes resume in 2020, and the university will be hiring additional security and enhancing use of security cameras. Bulls fall to the Bucks 123-102 in Chicago. College football bowl game action. Cal beat the Fighting Illini 35-20. College hoops. DePaul fell to Seton Hall in the Big East. In the Valley, Loyola topped Valpo. The news service of Discover. Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year automatically. No limit to how much they'll match. Discover Cashback Match. What are you waiting for? Learn more at discover.com/cashbackmatch. 6:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity sees a robust economy.
You can't contradict that these are the best numbers of our lives.
So it was Jim Cramer, and he said no matter what you think of the president, there's no denying we are living in the best labor market in more than a generation. Well, we already know that. We've never had a better employment situation in the country than we do now.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter. The smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Message and data rates may apply. Individual results vary. Exclusions apply.
Contacts and glasses are such a hassle. I'd love to finally get LASIK, but
I'm going to stop you right there. If you want LASIK, then the LASIK Vision Institute has officially taken away everything standing in your way.
Isn't LASIK expensive?
Not at the LASIK Vision Institute. We're offering dramatically low prices, as low as $220 per eye, and an absolutely free consultation. See for free if LASIK is right for you by texting LIKE to 350350.
But I'm really busy.
A text only takes seconds. The LASIK procedure typically only takes 15 minutes, and most patients can get back to work the following day. The LASIK Vision Institute uses the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology that helps the majority of patients achieve 20/20 vision for as little as $220 per eye. Dr. Greenberg has performed 75,000 laser eye surgeries and is one of the most experienced LASIK surgeons in Chicago.
What's that text again?
Text LIKE to 350350. That's LIKE to 350350 to schedule your free consultation today.
It's the year-end sale at Mattress Firm. Shop now and save up to $600 when you get a king bed for the price of a queen, or a queen for the price of a twin. Plus, get a free adjustable base when you spend just $4.99.
6:07 AM 560 traffic center time, and Jim Telemonte.
Snow is still a factor in and around Chicago. Inbound Kennedy traffic is heavy from Armitage to Division after a crash. All lanes are open again, but it's about 25 minutes from O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 23, heavy Harlem to Canfield with a collision. Inbound Eisenhower traffic slow. Ashland to the Burns Circle, 30 minutes, 390 to downtown. Stevenson to the Rhine look good. I-57 outbound at 159th. There's a crash on the exit. About Bishop Ford, it's about a 2-minute delay. Cottage Grove to the merge. Tollways look good. Speeds are reduced on northbound I-65 in northwest Indiana, but conditions are improving there. Metra has an early getaway schedule today. The South Shoreline has its regular schedule. I'm Jim Telemonte.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center and our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Couple of flurries early this morning, otherwise clouds and breezy today, the high 31. Patchy clouds tonight, low 22. Sunny and breezy on New Year's Day, the high tomorrow 40. Some sun, but then turning cloudy and mild Thursday, high 45. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Snow is tapering off, 24 now at O'Hare, 26 Lakefront, 26 Midway. Your next news update is at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, roasted fresh daily in Batavia, Illinois.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy J. Sean from Elmwood Park. The people we admire most, Gallup is out.
Are you on the list?
With their most admired man and woman in America. They've been doing it for 70 years. And drum roll, please. Barack Obama and Donald Trump tied this year as the most admired man.
Who's admiring them? What old retirement home and line at the Bijou did they get the poll from?
Well, it's an interesting. I mean, it's not that surprising. You've got a divided country politically, and you've got a hyper politicized country, and so they focus on the politician that they most closely identify with over the last decade. So, Trump supporters, 60 million Trump supporters, 60 million, or Trump voters at least, 60 million Obama voters. What's complicated about that? By the way, 12th time Obama is in the top spot. First time for Trump.
Are you kidding me?
Michelle Obama is the most admired woman for the second year in a row.
Huh.
I'm sure her book tour helped with that. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Who should be the most admired man and woman in America? Should it ever be a politician?
Never.
You never say never.
Never. They're all liars.
As usual, your very surgical analysis of the situation. Yeah.
I don't know how it's not Arnold Schwarzenegger every year. Doesn't speak the language. Comes to the country. 8-time Mr. Olympia. Marries
on steroids.
Even though I don't agree with the family,
Cheating.
marries
Maria
Kennedy.
Shriver. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I don't.
Then becomes governor of a state he can't pronounce. How does he not win every year?
You're going to have to make a stronger case than that. That may make California the least admired state. You may be making a case for
it's
that.
achievement.
Hollywood, the least admired cultural institution that gave him a career. You may be making a case for those things.
But that's a self-motivated son of a gun. You got to realize these people are born into a certain legacy. That's why they win. Obama, of course, he won. He's the head of American Marxism.
Yeah, but it also speaks to, like, I don't know, there's this disturbing disposition to admire political leaders. I mean, the whole sort of zeitgeist of respect the office, even if you don't like the person in it, and so on and so forth. Yes, but respect is earned, and that includes with office holders or high-ranking officials that were appointed and confirmed by the Senate, whatever the case may be. The idea that there is automatic legitimacy that attaches, I think, is losing some currency, and I hope that results in people looking beyond the political world for individuals they point to and say, hey, a son or daughter, that's somebody you should emulate.
And you know what else? That whole philosophy of a parent telling somebody respect the office regardless of the person who occupies it, that is the mindset of a slave. That is something I have never done.
Well, that's a little bit extreme.
I'm sorry. Well, of course.
Yeah.
How could it?
The mindset of a slave.
Absolutely. When you bow down to an office, regardless of who occupies it, what are you?
Well, the disposition is to say these are the foundations of our representative republic. So I'm inclined to want to respect them because they only exist as long as they're seen as legitimate. And so we respect the offices, even if sometimes mistakes are made with who we put in them. There is a distinction to be made there. So I don't think there's somewhere in between blind fealty and
absolute anarchy, like I put?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. There's a lot of room between those 2 points.
I completely disagree, and I'll tell you why, Prof. Okay. Completely disagree. We sit here on the cusp of 250 new laws cast upon us in Illinois by what?
Those are, I prefer to think of those as 250 new ways to improve our lives in Illinois.
Not one of those politicians is half a man. None of them. And you're going to create this legislative weaponry against the citizens like myself who are trying to earn a living and take care of their parents. Now you want me to respect the office? Who, with Jelly Belly Pritzker in there? The guy who can't see over the counter is making laws that are controlling our behavior. I have zero respect for it.
So who should be the most admired? Who do you most admire, man or woman in America outside of yourself, of course?
I shave his face every day. Me.
Outside of yourself. I knew that was coming, so I did the end run.
Superman.
Uh-huh. So it's wonderful to do a show with such an intellectual heavyweight.
Thank you very much. Pavarotti. There you go. How about that?
How about living and American?
Whew.
Not that Pavarotti wouldn't have been admirable in his time as a global
very generous with
artist.
The kids, you know.
Yeah. See, I think about it because you look to people whose names you know, or whose names rather than maybe some names you knew for a fleeting moment in time, and then forgot. But the whole like most admired thing. I mean, I'm fond of saying that what a society extols, it begets. So that includes the people that we put on a pedestal, or the examples that we say this is something that should be replicated, even if it's just a heroic moment in time. Jack Wilson at the church on Sunday. Is that somebody that should be on the most admired list?
Wait, but I don't know much about him aside I admire his one action. Why do I have to admire him?
You don't have to admire him. I asked a question. But we could do a little digging into Jack Wilson, who's been a deputy sheriff, and we're starting to learn more about him. It can come into focus pretty quickly. How much do you think you really know about politicians? How much do you really think you know about business leaders in terms of all the dimensions of their life? You know what is piped through the communication channels. You know what, frankly, oftentimes you're manipulated to believe. I mean, these are branding exercises with high-profile people or wealthy people. You don't necessarily know them just because you see them on TV. This was the famous takeaway from somebody you thought you knew because of the character they play on TV. I know Bill Cosby. He's Mr. Huxtable. What do you think now? Did you really know him? No, you didn't.
So you just spent 3 minutes saying I'm right. Okay.
No, I didn't. And you should actually try to engage your brain rather than just waiting for your turn to recite the same thing, to think about qualities and examples you would admire, and you would tell your daughter, say, that's somebody who did something that you should replicate. That's somebody who did something you should take notice of. That's actually a serious conversation. It's not just all politicians should go to hell. That's grade school stuff.
So I would admire philosophers that embody Americanism. And the saddest part of that entire ideology is none of them are alive. There isn't one today. So you don't have to admire somebody that's alive. I disagree with the premise.
Oh, my gosh. Of course you don't have to admire somebody who is alive, or you can't admire people who are passed on. Of course. Good grief. The point is, the exercise is people who are alive today, because that's what Gallup surveys. So try to see if you can follow along for 5 seconds on the topic.
Who's your answer?
I got a lot of them. I just mentioned one, Jack Wilson. And by the way, there are moments, critical moments in time, critical acts that tell you a lot about who somebody is, that tell you more about somebody is than reading their writings or looking at their academic record or examining their family situation. Let me give you an example, since I know this is such a complicated topic for you, and it's becoming a frustrating one for me. Botham Jean's brother, Brandt. Anybody remember who Botham Jean is? Remember? No, of course not. Botham Jean was the gentleman in Dallas who was killed by a police officer, Amber Geiger, who went into his apartment and thought she was in her apartment, allegedly, and opened fire and killed him. And he was just a regular work-a-day guy sitting down and having his dinner, and he was killed in his apartment. So Botham Jean's brother Brandt testified at the sentencing hearing
And forgave her at the court, yeah.
Uh-huh. You remember?
Yeah, that's great.
Remember this moment? So again, I don't know anything about Brandt Jean. Yeah, you do. You know how you know something about Brandt Jean? Because you watch him in this moment.
And I wasn't going to ever say this in front of my family or anyone, but I don't even want you to go to jail. I want the best for you. Because I know that's exactly what both of them would want you to do. And the best would be give your life to Christ. I'm not going to say anything else. I think giving your life to Christ would be the best thing that both of them would want you to do. Again, I love you as a person. And I don't wish anything bad on you. I don't know if this is possible, but can I give her a hug, please? Please?
Yes.
And that was Officer Geiger crying upon embracing with Brandt Jean. That's a moment we should remember from 2019, more so than just about any political speech I can think of. And that's something that, we cover in great detail on this show. That's somebody to admire. How about CPD Commander Paul Bauer, killed in action? Chicago Commander Paul Bauer killed in action this year. chasing down an armed suspect in by the Thompson Center, for goodness sakes, right downtown city center.
How about the 21-year-old that stuck up for the 65-year-old man being beaten yesterday? Did you see that story?
Yeah.
Right. So I agree with the actions of individuals. I have no problem admiring courage and dignity.
How about Joshua Caleb Watson, the cadet at the Pensacola Naval Air Station, got shot by the shooter, the Saudi Arabian military officer doing training there, and managed to get out to notify the local law enforcement where the shooter was, what was happening before he died. How about Joseph Okal here in Chicago, the guy who started the chess program at Earl STEM Academy for one of the toughest neighborhoods in America. Starts a chess team there. He's a math teacher, starts a chess team, leaves the teachers union, crosses the picket line to continue teaching, to continue coaching his kids during this most recent strike. And he's putting kids who are in harm's way every day in a position where they can get out of Inglewood and have great lives.
See, that's why the question should be posed as actions by people versus people. And I have another issue with it.
I know you can't admire another person. I know you can't admire another person because you're the only embodiment of perfection on the planet.
Correct. No, well, that's not the truth, but you can admire these actions taken by them and try to emulate them. But when you nominate existing living people who are reading this, now they feel anything they do in the future is to be admired and abided by. So that's another reason politicians shouldn't be on the list, and especially those that are living.
Now, why? But the dead were flawed too.
Of course, but we can look at their life in a totalness, in a totality that we can.
We don't look at.
Which is why no human being is to be admired.
That's nonsense. We don't. First of all, we don't look at the dead in totality. Rarely do we. We look at, frankly, them at their best, generally speaking, or them at their worst, whichever sort of outweighs the other. I mean, it's sort of the famous Bob Costas line at Mickey Mantle's funeral, the eulogy she gave, which is, essentially Mantle had some bad moments, but who could say that anyone has ever had better moments than he did? I wish I would have had some of the great moments that Mickey Mantle did as a baseball player, as a man. So that's how we remember people, particularly people engaging in heroic actions. The point to say is not that you do something heroic and thus you're infallible. You admire somebody and you extol their wisdom, courage, whatever quality is mercy in the case of branching, whatever quality is exhibited. So you send a message to the world around, including the individual you're honoring, to say, these are qualities we want to see replicated. These are qualities that should be put on a pedestal. These are qualities to be emulated. That's why you do it. Mary Kay in Western Springs, you're on Chicago's Morning.
Guy, good morning. Hi, you guys. Hi, Sean.
How are you?
Your cousin. Hey.
Oh, hey. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? So, Sean, who's your favorite philosopher? Sean?
I'm going to go with Ayn Rand.
That was
the low.
Okay.
Yeah. Atheist.
All right. Oh, geez, Sean. Jesus. Okay.
She's flawed. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So, what was I forgot what I wanted to say to you guys. I took some notes here, but I was on hold for a while. So,
I should have went Voltaire. We could have really heard Prof lose his mind.
Yeah. Catholic.
All right. Favorite philosopher. All right. And what else I want to tell you guys? Perfection. Sean. Yeah. Perfection. Yeah. I think I'm pretty perfect too, but I know I'm not.
No, of course not. I'm just saying there is nobody to be admired, especially somebody living, and especially a politician who, for the most part, holds that office with contempt of the citizens, who really has gotten there by lying and skullduggery. So they're the least favorite to me.
Yeah, I understand all that because I don't like many politicians at all either. But what about like strong women, like Dana Perino, or people, that you want your daughters to admire?
I go with Ayn Rand again. I have two daughters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for the call, Mary Kay. Sorry to cut you off. Kip in Stillman Valley.
Yeah, hi. Hey, that Nick Salmon, that high school kid, when he was having that drum beaten in his face, boy, that really changed my attitude of being hateful in the heart, to look at, see how foolish some people really are to just want to stir up hatred,
Thanks for the call, Cape Covington Catholic school kid Nick Sandman. That incident that was grossly misreported. By the way, they're still, I think, in the discovery phase of his defamation suit against the Washington Post. $250 million. I hope he makes Jeff Bezos dig into his pockets deep. Clay,
What's wrong with you?
Clay and Downers Grove.
Gentlemen, nice to have you back, Dan.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say I think the question should be posed differently. I think it should be, what is the most admirable action done by a person this year, and then the person should be recognized for that action solely alone.
I like that.
Yeah,
I
mean,
agree
I
with
guess. Thanks for the call. I mean, this is semantics. It really is. We start from the premise that everybody is flawed. It's implicit in the distinction, at least the way that we're talking about it, not with popularity contests like the Gallup runs, but it's implicit that you're talking about fallible people.
I also want to.
I mean, it's just so tiresome.
How is the poll given? Is it given with names, or are these organic choices? There's a lot that I don't know about the poll that I'd like to know.
I think they are. Verbatim questions on the who do you admire most. I don't think it's an exhaustive.
Because
I don't think it's a list you're presenting and then you choose from a list. I think it's give me a name. Also,
so many though, Prof. You know what I mean? I mean, how could you not? John Locke, Adam Smith. I mean, you go through the litany of
what
as I was reflecting on what Mary Kay said about philosophers and people who embody the philosophies we admire.
That's why we're talking.
I think you can admire principles, not people.
That's why we're talking about it on an annualized basis. Because if it was about who do you admire in human history, then we'd never get to the 21st century.
Because I agree with your premise of this man who saved the shooting. I admire these actions. I have a hard time wrapping it around people in general. I don't like that.
Yeah, because you're a misanthrope. I get it, but that doesn't. It's hardly a defense. By the way, it doesn't have to be people. How about Conan? Zero Bark 30, the dog in the Baghdadi raid.
Go get him.
You can nominate Conan. There you go. There's yours. Yeah. Mike on the north side.
Good morning, gentlemen. This is like the city mouse and the country mouse arguing, except we have the country club mouse and the mob adjacent mouse arguing. You got to go easy on Sean, Dan. I mean, ever since Johnny No Nose and Joey the Clown died, he doesn't have any heroes.
Yeah.
But I want to tell you, you had a guy fill in on your station a couple of times, and I admire him, and it's John Cass, because he's gotten it from the left and the right. The bosses at the Tribune don't like him because he took on Daley, and his coworkers don't like him because he'll take on every liberal that mouths the, drinks the Kool-Aid and mouths the right words, but is stealing on their own.
And Mike likes him. And Mike likes him because he's a size 48-28. That's why you like him, Mike. You don't fool anybody, okay? Stretch marks.
All right, I guess I'll give Sean the last word there. Andy in Hinsdale, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, how about Tim Tebow? Here's a guy who, really lives his faith, professes his faith, lives in the public eye, and has no qualms about going out and testifying to Jesus and taking unpopular stances.
And taking the lumps. That's a good pull.
All right.
Taking the lumps.
Thanks for the call, Andy. Tara in Elgin.
Hi, I was just thinking about Matt Gaetz and Jim Jordan. And Matt, had some troubles when he was out of college and everything. I don't know, as a human, he's not perfect. He's not Jesus, but he's doing pretty good. So those would be my two votes, I think, for the year.
All right. Thanks for the call, Tara. Tom in Deer Park.
I've heard a lot of names from you guys in the callers, but my suggestion is this. Cancel the contest. There's got to be people in your individual life, family members, teacher, clergy, something like that. And instead, when we have these contests, you get the answers that you started off with, the two past presidents and various Hollywood celebrities. And always been a problem to me is the celebrity culture that we live in, and that's how we get answers like that. Thank you for taking my call.
Thanks, Tom. And now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
25 degrees in Chicago at 6:30 following snow overnight. New Year's Eve forecast for Chicago from the National Weather Service includes clearing skies and some wind. In Chicago, about 1,300 additional police officers are on the street in uniform tonight, according to Patrol Bureau Chief Fred Waller. Iraqi protesters swarming the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad today, denouncing U.S. airstrikes that killed around 24 Iranian-backed militia fighters over the weekend. Officials in Iraq continue to condemn those U.S. airstrikes that targeted the militias. Iraq's prime minister says the strikes were an unacceptable, vicious assault, end quote. Former VP Joe Biden says he'll keep his options open when it comes to selecting a running mate and maybe select a Republican, he told voters in New Hampshire.
No, here's what I mean. Let me explain that. There's some really decent Republicans that are out there still. But here's the problem right now, of the well-known ones. They've got to step up.
Biden says there are plenty of qualified options, and he knows what his priorities are. Only one Democrat can beat President Trump in Florida, based on new polling out this morning. A Mason-Dixon poll shows Joe Biden leading President Trump in the poll by 2 points, but the margin of error in that poll is 4 points, so it is a statistical tie. Philadelphia making some news this morning, hiring the city's first black female police commissioner. Danielle Outlaw had been police chief in Portland, Oregon. 6-year-old boy reportedly wounded in a shooting in South Chicago on Monday. Authorities say the boy was walking with an adult near 83rd and Exchange around 5:15 when they heard gunshots. The boy was struck in the arm. Family members took him to Comer Children's Hospital. An Illinois proposal to make daylight saving time permanent is causing a lot of confusion at the Missouri border, where business owners and many who work on one side of the border or the other are concerned about the inconvenience of living on one side and working on the other. The Illinois Senate has approved legislation. It still needs approval by the House and the governor, but no matter what Illinois proposes, it is the federal government that has the final say over time zones. Bulls fall to the Bucks, 123-102. College football, Cal beat Illinois, 35-20 in the Red Box Bowl game in Santa Clara, California. College hoops, DePaul fell to Seton Hall, while Loyola topped Valpo in the Valley. The news service of Staples. Staples has the organization supplies you need for the new year, like planners, folders, and calendars. All at great prices. This week, 2020 desk pad calendars are just $3.99 each. Save on all of your office essentials at Staples, where there's a whole lot more in store. Offer ends 1/4/20 at Staples. 6:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Hi, it's Amy Jacobson, and I have an exclusive offer for our listeners just in time for the holidays. If you buy a set of Giza cotton sheets from MyPillow, you'll get a second set free, 2 for 1. Not only that, but you'll get free shipping. If you add anything else to your order, like MyPillows, mattress toppers, towels, anything, those items will ship free too. And you can get deep discounts on all MyPillow products, but you have to use the promo code AMY. I love MyPillow. I can't sleep without it. And I just started sleeping with my brand new Giza cotton sheets, and I'm sleeping so much better. All products have a 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty. So go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener special box, and get 2 sets of Giza cotton sheets for the price of 1, plus free shipping on your entire order. That's MyPillow.com. Click the radio specials box and enter the promo code AMY. Or call 800-489-0201. MyPillow.com, promo code AMY.
Balance of nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
This is better than I expected. You guys, your customer service and everything, you guys are great. Yeah, you're the best company out there as far as nutrition goes, I think. And the commercials, they talk about it, but a lot of times it's like, I don't know if it really gives it true justice of what this really is. People need to know this is maybe the most amazing product I've ever tried. You can just feel the energy. It's so pure. It tastes so good. I'm just blown away by it. It's amazing.
This is the season that focuses on family, faith, and love. This holiday season, Balance of Nature is offering 25% off, a free travel set, and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. This will only be available until the end of the year, so don't wait. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code Chicago.
Names matter. Your name, the name you've made for yourself, and the name of the company you represent. Because of you, they're names people can trust. That's why at 4imprint, every name and logo is printed with certainty. We pay attention to every detail because we know the way your name appears is the way it's remembered. So you'll know for certain that every item, from the right apparel to the most popular tech items, will be right the first time, on time, every time, at a great price, guaranteed. Because when you have passion, integrity, and certainty, the only name they'll remember is yours. Explore thousands of promotional products at 4imprint.com. That's the number 4, imprint.com. 4imprint. For certain.
Get the best sleep of your life. Helix makes personalized mattresses to fit your unique body type and sleep preferences. Go to helixsleep.com and get up to $200 off during their holiday sale.
6:37 AM 560 traffic center time, and Jim Telemonte.
Snowy roadways are still a factor with a number of crashes in the suburbs this morning, and there's one on the outbound Kennedy, actually two. There's one at Belmont. 2 right lanes are blocked there. Delays start at Fullerton. And then traffic's really jammed. Bryn Mawr to Canfield with wreck in the 2 left lanes. Looking at about 38 minutes from downtown to O'Hare. Inbound looks good at 20 minutes with virtually no congestion. Eisenhower outbound, past the circle, past Morgan Street, crash in the right lane. Inbound Stevenson, or northbound I-55 near 83, there's a crash with an SUV in the ditch. The other expressways and tollways are okay at the moment. No issues to report on the rails. The CTA has free rides tonight, 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. I'm Jim Alamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Flurries tapering off this morning. Cloudy, breezy through the midday. Some clearing by day's end. High 31. Patchy clouds and 22 to ring in the new year overnight, and a high of 40 tomorrow. 24 at O'Hare. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by CharlesEquipment.com, keeping you powered up no matter what the conditions.
This is 60 Seconds of Sanity with Dan Proft. The timer starts now.
When Democrats lose the New York Times columnist David Brooks wants Democrats to drop their impeachment gambit. New York Times columnist Brett Stevens wants Democrat presidential candidates to pare down their proposals to Venezuela-ize the American economy and holster their disdain for non-Ivy League graduates. The brothers Emanuel don't think it's a good idea to tell 150 million Americans, even if they like their private health insurance, they don't get to keep it. And so what's the response? Elizabeth Warren's complete set of Marxist fantasies and 60 easy-to-read white papers. Joe Biden's call for fossil fuel company executives to be imprisoned. Pete Buttigieg's plan to decriminalize all illegal drugs in the face of an opioid crisis ravaging middle America. And Michael Bloomberg's $100 million ad blitz apologizing for being pro-police while New York City mayor. As we enter the election year, Democrats are divided into 2 camps. One camp wants to defeat Trump at the ballot box. The other wants to cater to a party consumed with exacting vengeance on Trump voters. Unfortunately for the former camp, all of their presidential candidates are in the latter one. And that segues to exactly that discussion. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636-DA, turnkey.pro text line. The chorus of voices calling for moderation and the interesting inelasticity of the Democratic presidential field when it comes to anything resembling moderation. And point of fact, what you've seen this week is one trying to outdo the other with a more extreme, provocative measure. I mean, when Joe Biden, who is reputed to be the moderate in the field, the establishment in the field, says this at a town hall in New Hampshire.
The third thing we have to do is we have to set sort of guide rails down now. So between the years 2021 and 2030, it's irreversible, the path we've set ourselves on. And one in which is doing away with any subsidies for fossil fuels, number one. Number two, holding them liable for what they have done, particularly in those cases where you're underserved neighborhoods and you know the deal, okay? And by the way, when they don't, when they deliver, put them in jail. That's what I'm not joking.
Put fossil fuel executives in jail for what? For not locating enough gas stations in a particular neighborhood?
So he's simply repeating what Elizabeth Warren has said, what
Bernie
AOC
Sanders
has said, what
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders. So the reality is he is understanding now that he has to grab that radical communist faction, the totalitarian socialist, and that's his only chance because I think he realizes.
But is it a faction? I mean, if everybody is competing for it, is it more than a faction? Is it not the plurality, perhaps majority of the party? Why will no one heed the call for moderation in tone, if not substance?
Well, you're cheating too because you're in Illinois and you know the answer already. So you're cheating. You know what they are. They've shown themselves to be socialists for the last 20 years. The thing that I find most interesting is he admits what we all knew here, is that once these measures were taken and once laws like Obamacare were implemented, you were on a path where you could never get off of it. So the saddest part of everything is that this son of a gun knows he's right, and all they need are a couple more laws, one in particular a cap and trade tax, before there is no returning to anything that resembles freedom in the country.
I got to tell you, I think they are overreading some of the data. So, for example, this survey that was released by Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation, conducted by YouGov, that finds 36% of millennials approve of communism. That's up 8 percentage points from just last year, so statistically significant. So 1 in 3 millennials approve of communism. Nearly 70% say they're likely to vote socialist. That was the question was asked. Are you likely, extremely likely to vote for a socialist candidate? That's the way it was phrased. Not a dirty word to them.
No.
But is a word that means to them what it actually means in practice. As Gary Kasparov tweeted in response to this survey, Gary Kasparov, the chess master, the Russian freedom dissident, it's nice to have opinions about communism now because once you're living in it, you don't get to have an opinion about it anymore. Yeah, true. But my point about bringing this up, in addition to accentuating Kasparov's, is that you see this, you say, oh, millennials are lost. They're all socialists. They're all communist sympathizers. And this energy here among young people is what is going to put whichever Democrat socialist is nominated over the top. I don't think so. I think they are way overplaying that hand.
I hope you're right, brother, but we live here in Illinois, and we live in
this is an outlier.
But wait a minute. You cannot discount the fact that your fellow Illinoisan is so either one of two things: ignorant of the issues or friendly with totalitarian socialism, that they keep electing the same type of tyrant. So we can leave Illinois, but when these millennials start to really, we are living the ramifications of their actions, where are we going to go, kid?
Yeah, but I'm not sure. First of all, I don't think what millennials think right now is immutable, that they will always believe what they believe now, that they will always be fascinated by the Bernie Sanderses of the world. I think it's an anti-establishment sentiment that is kind of led them to a illegitimate vessel for that anti-establishment sentiment. So this is the choice we have. We either go with somebody who's, establishment like we did with Hillary Clinton, or we go with somebody that's calling for revolution, whatever that means. Well, I'm anti-establishment. I don't like the established order. And so I'm on the revolution bandwagon, whatever that means. We'll figure out the definitions and the implications later. I think it's ill-formed in the minds of many. And so Bernie and to some extent Warren provide an outlet for it. That's not the same thing as a full embrace of everything we understand that to be implying.
But our reality today, as we sit here, our reality today is we are living in a country that has a law in effect that you must participate in a government program, many government programs, be it Social Security or Obamacare as we sit. We live in a country today that is comfortable with a progressive tax that we know is a failed policy, with punitive punishing actions by government. So don't discount our own reality. We're already in a socialist country. The question is, are we going to take the governor off the throttle? To me.
Yeah, I understand, but the question, the immediate question is the 2020 electoral picture. And if you think that the majority of the country is ready to indulge the media's hatred of Donald Trump, many people indulge their own uncomfortableness with Trump as it pertains particularly to his communication choices, and embrace something like a Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren, or those that are impersonating a Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren to try and get through the primary.
Don't you?
That's the question. You think that's at bar? I don't think so.
I'm nervous with how accepting a lot of Americans are to collectivism and to socialism,
well, yeah.
and to government rule. So I'm super nervous about it. I think that we already are living among 50% socialists, admittedly, and I think the other 30% don't even know they're socialists and are willing to accept those ideas. So I'm nervous.
I don't think this is a fait accompli. I don't mean to say that, but I just I think these and again, when you have the David Brookses and the Brett Stevens and the Emanuel brothers trying to caution that the bridge is out, while all of their candidates are going breakneck toward the edge, it says something. I mean, the idea of taking private health insurance away from 150 million people who like it or like the prospect better than a government-mandated plan, that is a political problem in the context of the 2020 election. The larger conversation about the size and scope of government at every level, but particularly federal, since we're talking about the federal election, that's a legitimate issue, but it's a bigger one than 2020.
But we are now complacent. We are now that lobster in the hot water, is my point, because where's the rejection of it by us? Look at us. We're living in 10 years of Obamacare, basically, right? And look what you've done to the American people. Whether you've taxed the ones that employ themselves or the companies that employ them, we're all very comfortable with it now. And there's no real rejection of it anymore. There's just manipulation of it.
Well, it's right. It's interesting. I mean, to some extent, there's a rejection of it in principle on both sides, but neither side has been able to impose their will, right? On the one side, you have Medicare for all, $30 trillion formal takeover of health care and health insurance by the government and elimination of private health insurance. That's saying Obamacare failed. That's what all the Democrat candidates are saying, except Joe Biden. They're saying he failed. So that's on the one hand. On the other hand, you have free market-oriented solutions being advanced, health savings accounts. There was essentially a phase one repeal of Obamacare that was killed by John McCain. So, to some extent, you do have a real divide there. You do have two distinct paths that are being offered by the two parties.
In the time that this argument goes on, kid, I'm paying $2,100 a month. All right, so grind it out over the months. And it's working exactly as Joe Biden alluded to. We are on a path where you can't get off it. The stupid son of a gun was right.
Well, I mean, this is not a particularly novel insight. Of course, once you confer an entitlement, it's difficult to unwind it. That's the story of the human condition, and that includes the human condition in America, which is why when Republicans create new entitlements like George W. Bush did with Medicare Part D, that's a big problem. And yes, $100 trillion in unfunded entitlement state benefits is a big problem for this country, and it's going to have to be tackled. Trump doesn't seem to have any particular appetite for it, neither do really many people in either party. But ultimately, somebody is going to have to tackle it, or it's going to tackle you. And that's the same thing with the story in Illinois. I mean, Illinois is a microcosm of the federal government in so many ways in terms of its financing and piling up unfunded liabilities and breaking the compact with and people breaking the contract, the compact with their progeny. But so yes, those structural infirmities and the implications and being bribed with your own money, I get that all. But I'm just saying right now you have 11 months till a big decision about which path we're going to go down. And I think that Joe Biden and the rest of the Democrat socialists are way, way overplaying their hand to an extent they will not be able to walk it back in after the primary, regardless of who their nominee is. It's just not going to be that simple to pretend you didn't say the things you said, that you didn't take the positions you took, and Trump will have $1.5 billion to amplify what you've said and the positions you took.
I hope you're right. I want you to be right. My fear is you have more faith in the body politic than I do. We're surrounded by idiots, and that's why we are stuck in this position.
I think you may feel like we're surrounded by idiots more than we actually are because we live in Chicago.
Okay, fair point.
Yeah. Phil in Deerfield, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, guys. I think Sean's right on. And I see it from Trump supporters, conservatives all the time. Social Security is mine. I paid into it. It's not an entitlement. Well, if it's yours, then why is it when someone dies, they don't get that doesn't go into their inheritance? So it's not yours. It is an entitlement, and it is a tax. That's one. And I hate to also agree with Sean on this one, but maybe it's because I travel to more liberal places than.
You're not just agreeing with Sean because I'm well aware of how the entitlement state works. But go ahead.
But no, just traveling around the country, I think that it's far more liberal than communistic outside of Chicago. I'm saying, like I say, I travel around the country for work. Go ahead and sit in a bar in Orlando, Los Angeles, Atlanta, Minneapolis. It's pretty much the same, man.
Well, okay, thanks for the call, Phil. Los Angeles, Minneapolis, Atlanta, and Orlando.
So here's what I'm hoping.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but there's a real distinction between enclaves where you have elites, particularly big urban centers that are blue in states that are blue, like, say, Minneapolis or Los Angeles. And then there's, like, the rest of America out there. And they count, too, as they made themselves known in 2016.
I'd like to think you're right about the choices of paths. The problem is, in what I'm seeing, it's the same path, and we're deciding whether to walk or run down it.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I want to walk.
Me too. Okay, I'm with you.
So
me too.
This is not a laboratory experiment. We're going to have we have a reality that we're going to confront over the next 11 months, and then on November 3rd. And so yes, we can have the philosophical discussion of how things should be, the normative discussion about what a free market society would look like, and I'm happy to have that. We also, in the meantime, have to deal with the political landscape on the ground.
And the reality is in our face, and this is the part where I completely agree with you, you have the absolute and total movement of the media to demonize the Republican Party, Trump specifically. And you have the education system, which is bolstering the idea of a compassionate hybrid tyranny promised to you by every single Democrat candidate. So, I don't know who's got a better chance of making it through 2020, Chuck Todd's hairline or Bernie Sanders. I don't know, but we're in a danger because the path is Bernie Sanders. His mission is picked up by Andrew Yang. His mission is picked up by all of the other ones standing in a line to promise and deliver on the failed system we're accepting. That's the broader problem.
Joe in Villa Park.
Yeah, I think when it comes down to the battle between the progressives and the capitalists, I think it's all in the packaging of the message that really wins. If you sit down with a progressive and you talk about facts, they're always going to lose. Always. I have this conversation with my daughter who's in college, who's a student teaching, and the garbage they're teaching her. You sit down and talk about the facts with her. Oh, I never thought about that. I never learned that.
Yeah, it's a great point. Thanks for the call, Joe. I mean, this is why everybody has to be a communicator, because what the K through 12, well, frankly, pre-K through post-secondary is teaching about American history, including our current politics, is probably very different than you would be teaching your son or daughter or would want them to be taught. And so this is where oversight is required and conversations need to be had.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The Lou Dobbs Financial Report is brought to you by Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Visit signaturebank.bank for your commercial banking needs.
I'm Keith Peters in for Lou Dobbs. Wall Street ready to wrap up one of its best years. Retailers rush to comply with new California privacy law. Those stories next.
I needed new blinds. I knew I could save a ton of money if I put them in myself, but I was nervous about measuring right and then installing them. That's why I went to Blinds.com. I'd heard their ads on the radio, how they're the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. But I still had to install them. So I called in my design consultant, Carla. She talked me through it all, from picking the right blinds to installing them. Plus, the online design consultation was free. Samples were free. Shipping was free. My home looks perfect.
Reinventing yourself in the new year starts at home. Breathe fresh new life into your home this year with brand new custom window treatments from Blinds.com. From cellular shades to wood blinds to Roman shades and more. Go to Blinds.com now through January 6th and save up to 35%. Plus, get an extra $20 off with promo code Prager. That's up to 35% off. Plus, get an extra $20 off with promo code Prager. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Wall Street today will put the finishing touches on one of its best years ever, including the S&P posting record-breaking numbers for each of the past 5 weeks. The stock market will observe normal trading hours on this New Year's Eve, but the bond market will close early at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Also today, the National Association of Realtors releases pending home sales figures from November. American retailers, including Walmart, are racing to add "Do Not Sell My Info" links to their websites to comply with the new California Consumer Privacy Act that goes into effect tomorrow and allows shoppers to understand what personal data retailers collect and allows them to opt out of allowing retailers to share their information with third parties. Please join us for Lou Dobbs tonight at 7 and 10 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. And Happy New Year from the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. Let's talk credit card debt for a minute. If you feel you're carrying too much of it, you're not alone. The average household in the U.S. carries over $8,000 in credit card debt. Ready for some good news? With a cash-out refinance from Quicken Loans, you can quickly and easily put some of the equity in your home to good use by paying off a lot of that high-interest credit card debt. A great way to take cash out is with our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.99%. APR 4.23%. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN to learn how taking cash out with a 30-year fixed mortgage might be the right solution for you. And for a record 10 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Rates subject to change. Pay 2% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
On January 10th, they convicted an innocent man, Michael B. Jordan. Your life is still meaningful, and I'm gonna do everything possible to keep them from taking it. Academy Award winner Jamie Foxx. You don't know what it is down here when you're guilty from the moment you're born. And Academy Award winner Brie Larson.
I don't want my son growing up knowing that his mom stopped doing what was right just because she was scared.
You ain't quitting, is you? No, sir. Just Mercy, rated PG-13, may be inappropriate for children under 13. Now playing in select theaters. Everywhere January 10th. Directed by Destin Daniel Cretton.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
They breached the U.S. Embassy in Iraq. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Hundreds of protesters stormed the compound chanting "Down with USA." Some were able to get inside. They're angry over a deadly American airstrike that killed 25 militia fighters on Sunday.
And according to reports, U.S. security guards are currently on the roof firing tear gas, rubber bullets, and sound grenades in an effort to push back protesters. Other reports from on the ground in Baghdad indicate that Iraqi security forces are being used right now to try to separate the crowds of people from the U.S. Embassy compound. We've also seen video of fires being lit, glass being smashed.
That's Fox's Trey Yings. Now, Reuters had reported the U.S. ambassador was evacuated, but Fox News has learned that is not the case. President Trump tweeted Iran is orchestrating this attack on the U.S. embassy in Iraq, and they'll be held fully responsible. He also blames Iran for last week's attack that killed an American contractor and wounded 4 U.S. troops, which prompted Sunday's retaliation airstrikes. Now, the president also tweeted praise for the heroes who stopped a gunman from massacring more worshipers during a Sunday church service in White Settlement, Texas, killing him after he murdered 2.
I don't see myself as a hero.
Jack Wilson shot the shooter within seconds. He was part of a church volunteer security team.
I don't feel like I killed an individual. I killed evil.
A man accused of Saturday night stabbing at a rabbi's home in Muncie, New York, wounding 5 people at a Hanukkah celebration, is now charged with federal hate crimes in addition to attempted murder. Prosecutors citing anti-Semitic writings in a journal. Grafton Thomas's lawyer says he is mentally ill. It's 2020 already down under. That's part of the celebration with fireworks in Sydney, Australia. They're already 2 hours into the new year. In New Zealand, the ball doesn't drop in Times Square in New York City for another 16 hours, with police putting up barriers, securing the area, expecting about 1 million revelers. America's listening to Fox News.
25 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560, The Answer, and good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Chicago hit by a winter blast overnight. Snow and wind, and the New Year's Eve forecast from the National Weather Service is calling for clearing skies, but still very windy. Plenty of revelers scheduled for downtown tonight. Fireworks at the river and Navy Pier. About 1,300 additional Chicago police officers are expected to be spread out across the city this New Year's Eve. Patrol Bureau Chief Fred Waller saying the majority of the extra officers will be in uniform to increase visibility. At 7:02, other stories we're following. A 6-year-old boy reportedly wounded in a shooting. On Monday, authorities on the south side say the boy was walking with an adult near 83rd and Exchange. Around 5:15 p.m. when they heard a gunshot, the boy was struck in the arm. Family members took him to Comer Children's Hospital. Legal marijuana sales in Illinois set to begin New Year's Day. Chicago police officers have been directed to be informative to smokers about new rules, including part of the law that prohibits people from smoking cannabis publicly. Marijuana will continue to be illegal in Indiana and Wisconsin, and police there are on the lookout for those transporting and driving while buzzed. Bulls fall to the Bucks, 123-102. College football bowl game season continues. Cal beat Illinois in the Red Box Bowl, 35-20. College hoops, DePaul fell to Seton Hall in the Big East. In the Valley, Loyola topped Valpo. The news service of Staples. Staples has the organizational supplies you need for the new year, like planners, folders, and calendars, all at great prices. This week, 2020 desk pad calendars are just $3.99 each. Save on all of your office essentials at Staples, where there's a whole lot more in store. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher is all in.
I am one of the few who's never wavered in my support of Donald Trump. It's real simple. When you know that the alternative to Donald Trump is unthinkable in terms of our nation's economy, our military, our sovereignty, our borders, this is an easy call. This hasn't been hard for me.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Larry Nora, founder and CEO of You Store It, a network of award-winning self-storage facilities in the Chicago area, and a customer of Signature Bank. We've developed over 70 storage centers throughout the city and suburbs, and our business continues to grow. We need a bank who understands the neighborhoods and communities where we are making investments. We found that in Signature Bank. They know this city and its neighborhoods because they are based right here in Chicago. Finding a local banking institution like Signature Bank has been critical to the success of You Store It, and we look forward to a long-term relationship.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's the year-end sale at Mattress Firm. Shop now and save up to $600 when you get a king bed for the price of a queen, or a queen for the price of a twin. Plus, get a free adjustable base when you spend just $4.99.
7:07 AM 560 traffic center time, and Jim Telemonte.
CTA Brown Line trains are standing near Kenzie right now due to a reported obstruction. We are seeing delays on the outbound Kennedy Foster to Canfield. There's a wreck. 2 left lanes remain blocked. It's about 36 minutes downtown to O'Hare. Clear sailing inbound. Edens is fine. Inbound Eisenhower. It's heavy North Avenue to St. Charles after a collision. It's about a 2-minute delay, and outbound the Ike is clear. No problem. Reporting with Stevenson, the Ryan I-57 at Bishop Ford Freeway. Northbound Tri-State traffic is heavy from the 83rd Street toll to 75th Street and from Plainfield Road to 47. Now, their tollways are looking good. No issues to report right now in Northwest Indiana. CTA has free rides tonight, 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. I'm Jim Alamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next in our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Flurries this morning, otherwise clouds and breezy, high 31. Patchy clouds tonight, low 22. Sunny and breezy tomorrow, the high 40. Some sun Thursday morning, then turning cloudy and milder, the high at 45. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
24 at O'Hare, 25 Lakefront. Next news at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Alpha Wealth Group, bringing the trilogy of estate, tax, and investment planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy J this morning. Baby New Year, Sean from Elmwood Park.
Sound a little more excited. By the way, you type like a girl.
If by that you mean fast, then yes, I do.
You're a nerd.
Yeah. Hey, as we close out the decade, Illinois is number one in the nation in population loss between 2010 and 2020.
Only the smart people.
Illinois population decreased in 2019 by an estimated 51,000 people, marking the 6th consecutive year the state has lost residents. This according to new data from the U.S. Census Bureau. Since the turn of the decade, Illinois has lost more residents than any other state, with a drop of about 160,000 people. It's 1.2% of its population. In fact, only 3 other states have shrunk since 2010. Connecticut, Vermont, West Virginia, and Illinois.
What do they have in common, Dan?
Well, they have some things in common. Certainly Connecticut and Illinois have some things in common. Vermont, socialist.
They're all Democrats.
West Virginia is sort of a mixed bag these days. I mean, West Virginia went for Trump by 30 points, but they have other issues, of course. But you're right. I mean, they were lorded over by Dixiecrats for most of the last century, right? Think Robert Byrd.
Sickening. The whole thing is, and look at what they do. They just double the taxes. Oh, is there more people leaving? We'll just double it on the ones that stay.
J.B. Pritzker, Governor Jellybelly, he released a statement.
Half man that he is.
Ticking off the good news, because I don't want to bury the good news. Illinois' unemployment rate is at a historic low, and we're continuing to create jobs in every region of the state. Yeah, but it's significantly higher than the average in the Midwest, and it's significantly higher than the national average, isn't it, JB? And what does that have to do with Illinois policy? Not a lot.
How many guys like me never thought they'd be pushed around by a 5'2", 350-pound trust fund baby with hands like a baby's tuchus? Can you imagine the position we're in?
Yeah, I can, because I'm in it with you.
I'm leaving. Leaving tomorrow.
In a related story, here's a look at the tax and fee increases coming just to Chicago in 2020 before we even get to what's on the ballot in 2020, November of 2020 here. Of course, the graduated state income tax.
That'll be great. Can't wait till that hits.
Lightfoot there is increasing property taxes by $18 million to pay for Sunday hours at libraries that you don't use. Property tax will go up about $50 million more thanks to a $32 million increase Alderman approved under Rahm Emanuel to pay for debt service, and another $15 million or so for the value of new property in the city. There's also a tax increase of $5 million in the Chicago Park District budget, and as usual, the school district boosted its property taxes by the maximum increase allowed under state law. That's $150 million.
You know what'll help? Marijuana and video games and Cook County commissioners who get commission checks from putting the games in bars.
You got a congestion fee, $40 million Lightfoot hopes to raise to dissuade people from hailing single-passenger vehicles. $2.28. Yeah, this is.
I don't like the sound of that. What does that mean?
This is the Uber tax.
Oh.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got here. Doubling the tax on food and drinks bought in Chicago restaurants to 0.25%, from 0.25% to 0.5%. That's going to raise $20 million. So you cobble together all of the innovative schemes to separate you from your money, and you get close to closing an $838 million budget deficit for the coming fiscal year. Now, that does nothing to address the even short-term, much less medium or long-term liabilities of the city, financial wherewithal of the city, but this is what happens in Chicago and Illinois. Every time you turn around, somebody is in your pocket. Somebody is demanding your lunch money, and they're going to get it one way or the other.
You know what we need? Pritzker's accountant. Because only somebody who can navigate tax avoidance like a Pritzker can get through this maze of punitive taxation.
Well, no, you do. Just maybe this is a concierge service that you could provide along with your real estate company. The offshoring, the offshore accounts.
Yeah, why not
get everybody an offshore account to
name it Chicago
from Illinois
National.
taxation.
Name it Chicago National and put it in the Cayman Islands. Right? That's what Pritzker's old man, their grandfather, did.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
And
what's your view of Illinois in 2020? At the year end, you look ahead and you say, in 2020, and maybe even the next decade, since we're at the end of the decade, in the next 10 years, do you see yourself in Illinois? Forget 1 year. It's tough to turn on a dime. I get it. It's even if you've been looking at it for years, it's still tough. Kids in school, job, I get it. So I concede all those points. But think about 10 years from now.
No, absolutely not.
In Illinois, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line.
As opposed to your fake family, I have a real family. And
Yes.
it is very hard to move a real family.
Yes.
And you're tethered by love and affection, and you have my in-laws and legacy people. So it's difficult, and I've done it. I'm out of the state 50% of the year, and it's just, I'm here too much. So you have to make that decision. Are you going to hurt the people you love, or are you going to hurt yourself by destroying your wealth and funding these frauds?
Tony on the south side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, Dan. Sean, my man, what's up, Cigar Boy?
How are
hey,
you?
Listen,
Cigar Boy.
this is pretty funny, huh? Check out the name of that one tax, the congestion tax.
Yes,
right?
congestion.
What congestion?
Yeah.
What congestion?
It must be on the
People are
way
leaving
out.
The city. They're there. So what are you taxing people for? It's crazy, right? I love this stuff they put on these taxes. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
You guys have a good New Year, man.
You too,
Tony.
Happy New Year. Thank
You
you,
too.
Tony. Yeah, no, the congestion tax, that's the ride-sharing tax increase. That's called a congestion fee because, of course, every tax is being used for a laudable purpose, has a morally pure rationale. And this is, of course, to dissuade people from using Uber or Lyft other than in a ride-sharing environment. So if I want to go from, my place in Streeterville to a restaurant in Old Town, all I have to do is pick up 5 people along the way. And, then I'll be more eco-friendly and can avoid the taxation. So this is really smart public policy. So
You're creating a black
Democrats would
market.
tell us. They would tell us.
Yeah, you're creating a black market because guys who travel a lot, who are back and forth from, say, Florida, will get the phone number of their favorite Uber driver. And instead of going through the app, they'll just call them.
Let's just pay cash.
Why not?
Turn off the machine. I'll just
See, because
dupe you.
they never learn. They can't learn. That must be what Democrat translates to in Latin. Can't learn.
But here's the thing. They are very adept at going into your back pocket if they don't think they can get what's in your front pocket. And so this is the 20 million here and 40 million there and 100 million there and every taxing body taking a little piece of your home equity. So it's a slow burn until the whole place is in flames. Lucas and Joliet, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, Dan, I just want to comment. I don't have a 2-year evacuation plan. I'm here for 12 years. I have a daughter, and while I'm here, I'm going to help out the Will County Republican Committee and see what we could do about making the state red. Got to educate everybody. Got to explain to everybody there's all these fees and taxes. Got to make changes.
You mean
Gotta
like
stick around.
You mean like
Agreed.
Brady? You mean like Brady and Durkin? Those kind of changes? Or how about the fat slob Cook County Commissioner Pete Silvestri? Which ones? Are we going to support those Republicans or just the good ones? Because how do you decipher it out when you're willing to wave the Republican flag? I say throw out the bums that have been lying to you and pretending to be opposition, like those 3 I named specifically, and then work down from there. Because where's Nancy Kimmy, the fitness instructor? Where's she?
Well,
We're at a stalemate. We got to make changes somehow. So we got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
We got to start with guys like me, and we got to push the agenda.
It's easier to call guys like me and leave.
Well, that's right, Lucas. But if you can't muster the courage and organizational power to change out the leadership of the Republican Party so that you have a 2-party system, then you're not going to change anything. If you can't prove that you can take control of the Republican Party, then who's going to believe you can take control of the state? Nobody.
Understand.
Yeah.
And as tomorrow
Thanks, Lucas.
and all the marijuana dispensaries and all the new video gaming, who's in line? Who's the lobbyist? Who are they connected to? Because the Democrats have the terrible ideas and the Republicans profit from them here in Illinois. That's the real slogan.
Paul in Lake Forest.
Hey, good morning, guys. You make a great team.
Thank you.
Sean, I was there when Soros's guys came to the Board of Trade and told Rahm that he had to get in on Chopper, the company Chopper, to create computerized trading and get rid of the floor trading. But that's not why I called. Here's why I called. Yesterday you're talking about new taxes. This one about the garages, which I always thought was funny. And I'm a Florida resident, have been for 8 years. 2 out of every 11 cars that gets valeted by El Chapo's family, that is the valet company downtown, 2 out of every 11 only has to go into a parking garage. So 2 out of every 11 cars that gets valeted gets a city tax on it. And that was instituted by old Bertie Notaris while Riley was under his desk servicing them. And now Riley's been carrying that on.
Okay.
I would love, you guys tell me where I can donate some money to your mutual cause, and I would love to sit and have lunch with you guys for 1 hour. We have a mutual illness and sickness among us that I think would be very fun.
All right, Paul, hold on a second. We'll get your number, and so hold on a second. We'll do that.
Yep. As we start a Florida REIT.
Because I mean, maybe he's a member at a club like in Naples that I want to get into. Maybe he can get me on a course down there.
Yeah. I wouldn't even know about Naples if it wasn't for me.
By the way, the parking meter rate increase downtown too, charging 50 cents more per hour to park on the street and around downtown. So it'd be $7 an hour in the loop. That she hopes that's little Lori Lightfoot.
Whew, that could have been anybody.
She hopes to bring in. Are you ready for this number?
Give it to me.
$7 million.
Ooh. I'll tell you want to save $7 million. Stop going to lunch, Toots, and taking the security team.
Why even bother? Why even bother for $7 million? And this is supposedly somebody who wants to be a transformative mayor. I mean, small ball, petty anti-thievery. Same old, same old.
So, Dan.
David and McCook, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Hey, I'm still baffled why our great state and city leaders don't mimic what Texas, Florida, Tennessee, their policies are attracting people. Our leaders are doing completely the opposite.
David, all you need to do is look at the Democrat leadership to understand why they don't. Ed Burke, Mike Madigan, Cullerton, these are not only mob bosses, these are very successful men who have a monopoly on taking the foot off your throat. Why would they give it up? If Mussolini was making money, he would have got along with the citizens.
Well, you have to understand, too, that if they moved in the direction of those states that are successful and growing and attracting people,
they would be nothing.
They wouldn't be in power.
They'd be nothing but public servants.
And the flip side is, it's a bit counterintuitive, but they're feudal lords of a failed state, but they're the feudal lords, so it works for them.
It's good to be the king.
The 160,000 people who've left over the last decade, according again to U.S. Census, I mean, those are disproportionately people that can do grade school math, people that are productive, people that are not in on the layers and layers of scam. So actually, as the population shrinks, it gets better for the kleptocrats because who's left? A handful of kleptocrats in the Republican Party to prop up the kleptocrats there and be fine with the real bosses on the Democrat side so long as they get to wet their beak. And then you've got champagne socialists and beneficiaries of transfer payments and not much in between.
And look at the skullduggery on major Fortune 500 companies that they can commit. They're not shaking down a mom and pop shoe store. They're shaking down big major companies for huge money. ComEd, tens of millions of dollars, and you sprinkle the infield to your friends.
Well, right.
It's a great scam.
And that could be where I think at least some of them will fall. We'll see how the federal investigations progress in the new year.
And in the meantime, they got away with it for 70 years. It's like the end of The Irishman. What are you going to do, stick them away when they should be in a nursing home anyway? They win.
Well, that's right. Vince in St. Charles.
Good morning, guys. Great show as usual. Exit plan 2 to 3 years, and we vote them in, the new ones in, and if they don't do the job, we vote them out. Trump actually has done things, so it's there in front of you. You can see him doing things, cutting taxes. If they don't do what they're supposed to, then you get rid of them. But by then, I'll be gone, and at least they're up to the people that are here. I'm going to watch the state crash and burn from another state, I hope.
Yeah, thanks for the call. Vince gets outside the blast zone. Peggy in Chicago. Hi, Peggy.
Is this the Russian guy that you complain about your electronics to?
Peggy? Going
Yeah.
once? Oh, yeah, okay. Go ahead, Peggy.
Yeah, it's me. I just want to interject a ray of hope.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that Jeannie Ives ran against Rauner and almost beat him.
Yes.
Almost. So it's very close. Also, Madigan
And Jeannie
John
Ives
Fullerton.
and Jeannie Ives is running again for Congress against Sean Casten, and she should beat him. So at least we can get a congressional seat back. The only action that's relevant in the state in 2020 in Illinois, At the state level is the graduated state income tax. But in terms of electoral races, the only races that are really relevant, 2 congressional races, to take back the seat that Lauren Underwood holds, to take back the seat that Sean Casten's in. You have to get the suburbs back. So that's where people should focus their energies if they want to devote any to politics in this cycle,
Well,
in this state, in this cycle.
Madigan is in deep trouble. He has political power.
Yeah.
Like his
yeah.
bishop
Yeah.
has prevented him. He won't let him back into communion. Won't let him go to communion in his diocese.
Yeah.
And whereas he has political power, there are people who consider moral authority pretty damn important. And if
where are
your own
they?
bishop won't let you go to communion, it means you must be pretty bad. And although he can control politics, he can't control the opinion of somebody's opinion of your character.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Peggy. That's good news, I guess. Here's the thing about Madigan, Cullerton retiring, and Madigan possibly being in trouble, although I think he's a long way from actually being taken out of his office. Here's the thing about it. I mean, I hate to always look on the downside, but let's look at the complete picture, shall we? Too many people, particularly Republicans, conservatives, think Madigan. It's been the Republican Party message for 20 years at least, because it's easy and it's cheap. And it's also untrue, in part. Here's the part. Not that Madigan's not a bad guy. Not that he's not been lording over Illinois, this feudal state, as our top feudal lord, and is approximately responsible for much of the economic destruction in the state. That's all true. The idea that Madigan goes away tomorrow and all of a sudden we usher in a period of milk and honey in the state is absurd. It's untrue. Stop believing that. Open your eyes. In point of fact, it could actually get worse, and here's how. You can replace transactional kleptocrats like Cullerton and Madigan, who are interested in political power and self-enrichment, and they've proven very successful in obtaining both. You could replace them with ideological socialists, because that's who's in their caucuses. Ideological socialists who won't be transactional, who will be, Bernie Sanders mini-me's. So Madigan and Cullerton go away, and all of a sudden the Republican Party finds its courage, its reason for existence? Not necessarily. The Democrat Party becomes less corrupt. It becomes more ideological left. So just be careful what you think the path to a paradigm shift in Illinois is. It may include the removal of Madigan, but that's not exhaustive in terms of the list of things to be done.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Balance of Nature's fruit and veggie capsules contain 100% vine-ripened fruits and vegetables, tested pure with no pesticides, fillers, or additives of any kind, and are the most effective whole food supplements on the market today. Fruits and vegetables are on an average 85% water. Balance of Nature uses cold vacuum technology to remove the water, leaving only the whole food. We don't use any heat, air, or light drying methods that damage nutrients. Our cold vacuum technology maintains 99% of the fresh fruits and vegetables' original nutritional value. This is the season that focuses on family, faith, and love. This holiday season, Balance of Nature is offering 25% off, a free travel set, and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. This will only be available until the end of the year, so don't wait. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
If you maintain an industrial plant, you know your dust collection systems are a vital part of the operation of your plant. Without them, things can get dusty quick. And when your dust collection system malfunctions, the downtime can cost your plant money. Time to call the professionals at Vans Industrial for help.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, owner of Vans Industrial. At Vans, we work with many different types and sizes of dust collectors, from 1,000 CFM to 100,000 CFM. If your system needs housing repair, tube sheet, pulse valves, ductwork, or collection hoods, give us a call. Schedule an inspection today to keep things running smoothly and avoid costly downtime. And when you're ready for a new dust collector, we can design your system from the collection hoods to the stack for plants of all size applications.
Vans uses only the best and safest union-trained mechanics, insured at the highest level, to perform the job right. Call 833-VANS-IND. That's 833-VANS-IND. Or on the web at vansindustrial.com.
This is attorney Stephen Leahy, host of the IRS Radio Hour, heard right here on AM 560 every Sunday evening at 5 o'clock. Let me tell you about Bill. Bill's business slowed down and he fell behind on his taxes. Instead of filing his tax return, he decided to wait until he could pay. Well, 1 year turned to 2, turned to 3. Then the IRS threatened to contact his customers, take his house, his bank account, and his passport. Well, Bill hired me. We filed all of his tax returns and an appeal to slow the IRS down. Then we worked out an installment agreement based on how much he could pay, not on how much he owed. Now Bill can rely on the IRS protection plan. We will file his future tax returns and keep the IRS off his back so Bill can focus on growing his business. If you have questions about the IRS, you can get a copy of my book, Deal with Your IRS Problem Today, to learn the secrets of solving your IRS problem and save your business, your marriage, and your reputation. Call 312-664-6649 or go to freeirsbook.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up, those leftists in charge of Uber and Postmates, they don't like California socialists' war on freelance work. We'll discuss that with Steve Moore, Wall Street Journal columnist, at 7:37. Now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
Clouds and snow flurries, 25 degrees at 7:31. President Trump this morning defending weekend airstrikes on Iranian-backed militias in Syria and Iraq as tensions rise in the Middle East. Hundreds of Iraqi protesters stormed the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad earlier today. The president tweeting this morning that Iran is orchestrating that embassy attack. Former Nissan CEO Carlos Ghosn confirming he has fled house arrest in Japan and is now in Lebanon. Ghosn was awaiting trial for charges that he misused company funds. A Texas church took care to feed homeless men and women and claimed after a shooting, after a man opened fire on members during a Sunday morning service. West Freeway Church of Christ pastor Britt Farmer says he was asked if he knew the gunman who had claimed to be homeless in an earlier visit.
I had seen him. I had visited with him. I had given him food. I had offered him food at other occasions. He had been to our building.
And now we're learning the shooter's ex-wife had a restraining order against him, says he was violent, paranoid. Jewish leaders are calling on African-American members of Congress to be more specific when they condemn recent attacks on Jewish Americans. Rabbi Meyer May from the Simon Wiesenthal Center says he simply can't ignore the ethnicity of several of the accused attackers.
In the case of what's happening now in New York, clearly it was the evidence speaks for itself. We're asking for African American leaders to come forward and to say they're not on our watch.
Officials at the center also want President Donald Trump to create a new FBI task force. Following snow overnight and this morning, the New Year's Eve forecast for Chicago calls for skies to clear by the evening, but some wind for the revelers gathering along the Chicago River and at Navy Pier. The family of a college student who was killed in a shooting in Chicago last week is upset with charges filed in connection to her death. Lanai Bell, who was home on winter break from Michigan State University, was shot and reportedly killed last Friday when Lafayette Hodges was playing with a gun that went off. Hodges has been charged with manslaughter and appeared in court on Monday. Looking back at one of our biggest and still developing local stories in the AM 560 newsroom in 2019, the legal case of Empire actor Jesse Smollett took some twists and turns this year, and it is far from over.
I've been truthful and consistent on every single level since day one. I would not be my mother's son if I was capable of one drop of what I've been accused of.
First, he claimed to be the victim of a hate crime in January. A month later, arrested for staging that attack against himself. That case was controversially dropped in March by embattled Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx. Bulls fall to the Bucks 123-102 in Chicago. College football bowl game action. Cal beat the Fighting Illini 35-20. The news is service of Liberty Mutual. The message, Liberty Mutual Insurance customizes your coverage so you only pay for what you need, is brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance, where you can customize your coverage so you only pay for what you need. Liberty Mutual Insurance. 7:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Do you own or run a thriving business in the Chicagoland area? Have you overcome obstacles to make your business what it is today? If that's your business, then AM 560 The Answer wants to tell your story on the AM 560 Business Tour 2020, presented by Signature Bank. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson will be broadcasting live from businesses all around Chicagoland, telling the stories of thriving, successful businesses. If that's you, tell us about it. Go to bankbusinesstour.com and submit your information. That's bankbusinesstour.com.
Balance of Nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
I just want to tell you that I can't believe what this has done, and I've only been taking it for, a couple of months. I don't know. I got to the point where I was very discouraged, and my energy was down, and I tell you, my wife says this stuff is wonderful. I feel so much better. My attitude is different, and my energy is good, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
This is the season that focuses on family, faith, and love. This holiday season, Balance of Nature is offering 25% off, a free travel set, and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. This will only be available until the end of the year, so don't wait. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson to talk about my incredible experience with Online Trading Academy. I signed up for my own free class, and you can too. You'll be introduced to skills to take control of your financial future. You'll learn the right moves to make when the economy turns and how to spend less time worrying about life and more time living it. You know, no one else will ever care about your financial future as much as you do. It's time for you to start learning how to invest in you. Seats are limited. Just call 844-778-7132 to attend and get 2 free passes to their next class so you can check this all out. And if you call right now, they will send you home with their Professionals Insider Kit. It's loaded with exclusive investing courses and some of their best lessons from the pros. This is a limited opportunity and seats go quickly, so call 844-778-7132. That's 844-778-7132, or visit them online at otaclass.com, otaclass.com.
Get the best sleep of your life. Helix makes personalized mattresses to fit your unique body type and sleep preferences. Go to helixsleep.com and get up to $200 off during their holiday sale.
7:37 in the AM 560 traffic center. Here's Jim Telemonte.
In Schiller Park, there's a crash with injuries on Mannheim, just south of Irving Park at Seymour. Expect congestion there if you're headed to the airport. In Aurora, southbound Orchard Road is closed from Prairie to Jericho due to a collision. Traffic moves well on the Edens at this hour. On the Kennedy as well inbound. Outbound, it's heavy. Bryn Mawr to Canfield, there was a collision there. It's 25 minutes downtown to the airport. The Eisenhower, the Stevenson, and the Ryan look good. Inbound I-57 at Sibley. 2 right lanes are blocked with a vehicle fire. Bishop Ford Freeway is fine. Tollway traffic flows freely. No problem. Report in northwest Indiana. The CTA will have free rides New Year's Eve, 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. I'm Jim Alamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Flurries this morning in the area. Otherwise cloudy, breezy for much of the day. High 31. Clearing a bit with patchy clouds overnight. A low of 22. 24 at O'Hare. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by On Target Radio. From firearms and Second Amendment rights to personal freedoms and government intrusions. Listen here Sunday nights at 9.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy J this morning, Sean from Elmwood Park. Homelessness in the country outside of California is falling. Homelessness overall slightly increased because of the 16% increase in homelessness in California, that well-run state, that incubator of all things tech. And amid many terrible public policies enacted under Governor Gavin Newsom, the most anti-competitive with respect to the golden goose in California, the tech sector, could be their Assembly Bill 5, the law that puts severe restrictions on who is qualified to be an independent contractor or freelancer. So onerous is it that Gavin Newsom's fellow travelers who run tech companies like Uber and Postmates have filed suit to enjoin the law. For more on this topic and a bit of a year in review, as well as a look ahead to all things economic growth related, we're pleased to be joined by Wall Street Journal columnist Stephen Moore, also the author of the book Trumponomics, Inside the America First Plan to Revive Our Economy. Steve, thanks for joining us. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you guys. By the way, Dan, you just buried the lead. Of course, the story of the year has been this incredible economy with the booming stock market.
Well, I know that. Yes. We'll get to that. I want to get to the bad, and then we end with the good. Yeah. So on the California gig economy, the war on freelance work.
Well, let me start by saying I was just in San Francisco a few weeks ago. And have you been there lately, Dan?
I have not.
Sure, he hasn't.
It is revolting what has happened to that city. I mean, this is one of America's great cities. It's one of America's most affluent areas in the country, if not the world. And yet you have, homeless people on every street corner. They're peeing, they're pooping. There's disease. It's panhandlers. It is so bad. And the people in San Francisco, they're typical liberals. They throw up their hands and say, "Gee, we just don't know what to do about this." I mean, it's an insoluble problem. And I'm like, wait a minute, wait. We have a mayor who dealt with this problem 25 years ago quite effectively, and his name was Rudy Giuliani. And he got the homeless off the street. He got them into the shelters and so on. And they would just refuse to do that in these cities like San Francisco, in Portland, and Seattle, and probably Chicago, for all I know. I haven't been to Chicago a lot lately. So, but this is
even
not
the homeless
a hard
are
problem.
leaving Chicago.
What?
Even the homeless are fleeing Illinois.
Yeah, exactly. Because San Francisco and Seattle and Los Angeles say, just like they have the sanctuary cities, they want the illegal immigrants, they want the homeless. But it is really pitiful because it's making San Francisco and Los Angeles unlivable cities for everyone. And so that's my take on the homeless crisis. But you were talking about what's this issue you're talking about?
The Uber and Postmates suing over the law that forces them to essentially treat their employees as full-time employees rather than freelancers.
This is going to destroy the gig economy. You're exactly right. I mean, and this is basically unions and other do-gooders on the left who think somehow this is going to help the Uber drivers and the people who are in these kinds of businesses, and it's not. It's going to put a lot of them out of business. And, the whole shared ride industry has so benefited people, and the people it's benefiting the most are lower middle-income worker who use it. They might not be able to afford a car. So I don't even understand the liberal motivation for this, frankly.
First of all, Stephen, Burying the Lead will be the title of Dan Proft's autobiography. Okay? So let's get used to it. Secondly,
By the way, I have to say, I've got to tell you guys. I mean, I was in Chicago for Christmas last week, and people would say, "I know you. You're the guy on the Dan Proft and Amy show."
Wow, people up on the North Shore actually listen. I mean,
Look
amazing.
at that.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, well, listen, I'm going to give you an example as to why my name was not mentioned in that. And we're going to do it because I dislike unions, Stephen. I recognize them as the downfall of American manufacturing, of American workforce, and I recognize them as the labor extortion mafia that they are. Okay?
Right.
So I don't like them. And I have to question, because I want to believe you guys are kidding me with the pro-union policies. Okay, so and I'll tell you what I mean. So I've watched you argue for decades against the minimum wage. You know full well that destroys small business. It destroys all business. But more diabolical, it protects union business, right? I mean, that's why unions are always paying politicians.
Where are you headed with this?
Yeah,
Why
I'd like to know
is
too.
a high minimum wage a pillar of the MCA, and why is that in there?
Wait, you mean the
foreign workers in the MCA?
Oh, yeah.
$16 minimum.
Yeah, I don't like that provision of the USMCA. I mean, you're going to put many Mexicans out of work because of that, and one of the reasons that Mexico is able to create jobs is they do have lower wages than the United States because their workers are not as productive and they don't have as much capital. So yeah, this is one of the things about the USMCA that I do not like. And in fact, at the Heritage Foundation, we oppose that provision for the, my friend Walter Williams used to say, gee, we could just make everybody in the whole world rich by just raising the minimum wage to $25 everywhere. Well, yeah, that would put every low-income worker, from India to Mexico out of a job, and millions and millions of people would lose jobs. So I'm with you on that one.
I wanted to see if you agree with me that there's basically...
No, Dan, hold on.
What? Yes.
Just a second. You and I have had this conversation for 3 years now. 3 years. I've been waiting for this moment on China trade.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Haven't we?
Yeah.
And you have belittled me, and you yelled at me, and you said Steve Moore is no longer a free trader, and we have this U.S., Canada, Mexico the China trade agreement that looks like is going to lower tariffs. It's happening just as I said, Dan, and I want you to say, mea culpa, I was wrong, and Steve Moore was right.
Once the ink is dried and I see the particulars, we can have that conversation. Until then, right. and I think, and to be fair, I suspect you're probably as cynical about the enforceable nature of whatever provisions are in that Phase 1 agreement as I am.
I am cynical about it, and I am doubtful that the Chinese will comply because they lie and they cheat. I don't mean the Chinese people. I mean the Chinese government.
Communists.
And so you're right. I mean, there are flaws in this agreement, but it is the main thing is that the United States exports to China over the next 2 years will double, according to our mutual friend Larry Kudlow. And if that happens, you're talking about hundreds and hundreds of thousands of additional manufacturing and agriculture and farming jobs. So this is a good thing, and it's worked out well. And look, I had some skepticism too about whether this strategy would work. But Dan, you have to admit this story may have a happy ending.
Well, I'm hopeful for happy endings. I'm just I just want things to not get worse. I'll even take not getting worse between now and November 3rd of 2020. Right. But I wanted to get your take on something else too.
I'll put you in the Paul Krugman camp. That Trump is.
No, I'm not in that camp. No. So there's two statements that I think provide nice bookends to what the Democrat Socialists are offering in 2020. One is from former presidential candidate and current failed mayor of New York City, Bill de Blasio, who said there's plenty of money in this country, it's just in the wrong hands. And the other comes from Joe Biden just yesterday in New Hampshire, talking about how Obama put him in charge of judging jobs of the future, because he's now on the socialist bandwagon to transform the economy, to eliminate fossil fuels, to imprison fossil fuel company executives. He says of coal miners, anybody who can go down 3,000 feet in a mine can sure as hell learn to program as well. The sort of disdain and the cavalier attitude for other people's livings. You see it with the California socialists, as we were just talking about with the gig companies. Now you're seeing it with Joe Biden telling West Virginia coal miners and, frankly, blue-collar workers throughout the Midwest that, hey, you know what? We're taking away your jobs. We're going to change the economy, and it's going to marginalize your livelihood. But you go take a class, and you learn to code, and you join the rest of us.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is, I didn't see those comments that he had made in New Hampshire, but I did hear what he said in the last Democratic debate, where he said something very similar. He said he was asked point blank by the way, the PBS announcer deserves a lot of credit, said, that gentleman said, Vice President Biden, you have said you're going to destroy the shale oil and gas industry. And he said, that could cost hundreds of thousands of jobs. By the way, that's an underestimate. It would cost millions of jobs if you did that. But nonetheless, hundreds of thousands is still a lot. And he said, would you still go ahead with this if it meant hundreds of thousands of Americans lose their jobs? And he said unhesitatingly, yes. Now, why is this important? Because it's not just from a political point of view. Think about where these jobs are. I mean, if you've been to Ohio or Pennsylvania lately, Ohio and Pennsylvania's economies have been completely transformed and resurrected because of the shale oil and gas revolution. I mean, Ohio and Pennsylvania are two of the largest energy producers in the world today. It has literally put millions of Ohioans and Pennsylvanians in these industries and ancillary industries back into business. Even steel plants are being reopened because of this. And this lunatic line by the left that we have to shut this down, it is absolute craziness. And I guarantee you, if Biden becomes the candidate, there is no way in hell he's going to win Pennsylvania and Ohio. I mean, do you actually think people in Pennsylvania and Ohio are going to vote for somebody who says, by the way, I'm going to eliminate your job? I mean, Hillary tried that, Dan, as you know, when she talked about when she was talking about the coal.
Yeah, remember she had the Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin orchestrated that summit between her and some coal miners. It's a joke. People are reading through this.
Yeah. So what happened was, just so people know the end of that story, I mean, Hillary went to West Virginia and she went to Pennsylvania, Ohio, and she said, I'm going to put every coal miner out of business. And then on November 8th, she kept scratching her head saying, gee, how did I lose Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you tell people you're going to usually politicians say, I'm going to create jobs. The Democrats are running around the country saying they're going to destroy jobs.
Now, here's my thing, Stephen.
Oh, I know what you're going to say, Dan. Dan, I know what you're going to say. Oh, but they're all going to go into the wind industry. They're going to make windmills.
Right. Or if they don't learn to code, they can build windmills.
And the one that collapsed in New York yesterday, which should terrify you. But anyway, here's the question I have. I'm going to agree, and I fear the eco-Nazi far more than I fear the populist. So I concede that point. My question is just for Stephen Moore, the economist whose books I bought. Yep. By the way, you owe me money. My question is to you, 10 years down the road, if these things are done to stop the eco-Nazis with a pen, right? Because he's deregulated by executive order. He's holding them off, and he's really the only thing holding them off. Post-Trump, what are we going to do to hold off cap and trade? What are we going to do to hold off this agenda if we cannot convince the House to actually pass laws? I'm terrified by executive orders because they can be done by executive orders. Are you going to work on that?
That's a great point. That is a very valid point. We've moved under Obama and under Trump. It started under Obama. It's accelerated under Trump, where more and more laws are being passed, you're right, by executive order. And basically the legislative branch, that is Congress, is more and more feckless and incompetent and can't get anything done. Now, I will say this, though, in terms of the future of energy, where we're going to be 10 years from now, is, ladies and gentlemen, the future is not wind and solar power. I mean, we may use some of it. The future is natural gas, which we have like 500 years worth of natural gas. It is clean burning. It's reducing our carbon footprint. And the other one, by the way, there's another form of energy that I think you used there in Illinois that makes a lot of sense, and it emits no carbon into the atmosphere.
Nuclear.
Can either of you explain to me, I mean, truly, I'm mystified, if it is true that we are facing apocalypse in, AOC says in 10 years, and we can't use any more fossil fuels, why wouldn't we just build nuclear power plants? I mean, but they're opposed to that.
Steve Moore, noted economist, Wall Street Journal columnist, author of Trumponomics, Inside the America First Plan to Revive Our Economy. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
All right. Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year. And you join us on the
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I love the products. I haven't had a cold since I've started. My grandkids get sick all the time, and I don't catch what they have. I'm going to be 68 tomorrow, and I'm in great shape, and I'm very grateful. I know the balance of nature, the simplicity of it, and the purity of it has just been a tremendous blessing for me.
This is the season that focuses on family, faith, and love. This holiday season, Balance of Nature is offering 25% off, a free travel set, and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. This will only be available until the end of the year, so don't wait. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
I'm Dan Proft.
And I'm Amy Jacobson.
And if you're a small business owner or you make the marketing or advertising decisions for a business, then listen up.
Once again, our annual Food for the Poor campaign is underway to raise money to feed families fleeing from the socialist crisis in Venezuela. These families are now in Colombia and are starving. And our good friends at Food for the Poor are working with partners on the ground at feeding centers to make sure these families survive.
And here's how your business can be a part of the solution. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor. Just make a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor, and AM 560 will give you 40 60-second commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday to Friday at no additional cost to you.
Dan, that's the best advertising deal in all of Chicago. Through the generosity of your business, you'll be helping 8 families. To take advantage of this deal, just call Anjanette Nakowski at 847-472-8951. That's 847-472-8951. One more time, 847-472-8951.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Rick Blavelone, second-generation owner and CEO of Marketing Innovators and a customer of Signature Bank. Our family-run company was founded on the belief that connecting to people on a human level is the best way to build a great business. And when we were looking for a new bank, we didn't have to look far. We shared an office building with Signature Bank in Rosemont and quickly saw that they were truly locally owned and operated. That's why we partnered with Signature. And that relationship makes every business decision better and every communication clearer. Marketing Innovators looks forward to a long-lasting relationship with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Transferring paper files to digital used to be complicated and expensive. Data and document capture had many IT layers involved. It was expensive, time-consuming, and labor-intensive. Not anymore, thanks to the Alaris Infuse Smart Connected Scanning Solution from Kodak Alaris and IDT. The Alaris Infuse solution makes data and document capture easy, and it's powered by Capsys Capture Online. Within a matter of minutes, you'll be able to accurately and reliably onboard content with instant notification of data issues, making the entire capture process smarter and more efficient. IDT can show you how to onboard content and make point-of-origin capture simple with the Alaris Infuse solution.
Relieve the burden of managing and maintaining business systems with IDT, helping your business keep pace with the evolution of information production and management. Set up a consultation today. Visit ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Or call 877-SCAN-IDT. IDT, putting paper in its place. Eyes Right Open is a 501c4 organization that's committed to making America great, today, tomorrow, and forever. Be part of something great and join them today.
We are working on the issues of the day right now, so buckle up and get ready for the future. Our show will lead you to the promised land of the beauty of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You will take command of the world around you instead of the constant barrage of lies, innuendos, and fake news. Take control and get ready as our country needs you. The commies are coming. The progressives are coming. The liberals are coming. Join us every Saturday night at 5 p.m. starting in January to learn how to win and make America great today, tomorrow, and forever. Eyes Right Open. Join us.
Eyes Right Open is a new program starting in January, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Sean from Elmwood Park in for Amy J. Coming up at 8:08. If the House Democrats are considering impeaching Trump a second time, what does that say about the strength of the articles they passed and won't send to the Senate? We're going to talk to Jeff Shepard, Deputy Counsel on Richard Nixon's Watergate defense team. That's at 8:08. Now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
Clouds and snow showers beginning to taper off in the area. Cloudy for the bulk of today with a high of 31. Start of a new decade being celebrated in downtown Chicago, and legal marijuana sales hit the state tomorrow morning. Bulls lose to the Bucks. The Illini fall in the Red Box Bowl. WIND Chicago News Time. It's 8 o'clock.
They got inside the U.S. Embassy compound in Iraq. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Hundreds of protesters stormed the gate with anti-American chants.
According to reports, there are multiple U.S. security troops in the embassy compound trying to push back those protesters. So far, we have seen images of fires being set outside and glass being smashed as Iraqi security forces also trying to calm the situation.
Fox's Trey Yingst. President Trump is pointing a finger at Iran again. Fox's John Decker live at the White House.
President Trump tweeting that Iran is orchestrating the attack and writing they will be held fully responsible. In addition, we expect Iraq to use its forces to protect the embassy and so notified. State Department officials are denying reports of an evacuation of the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. Iraq's prime minister, meanwhile, has said the attack on the U.S. Embassy compound will have serious consequences. The protesters are demonstrating against American airstrikes on an Iranian-backed militia group in Iraq that killed at least 25 people. The leader of that group has vowed to seek revenge. Dave?
John, the president just tweeted a thank you to the armed congregants inside the church in West Settlement, Texas, where a gunman was shot and killed during a service Sunday. Seconds after he murdered two worshipers, Democrats have again called for stricter gun laws. Grafton Thomas, the man accused in Saturday's stabbing spree at a rabbi's home in Muncie, New York, wounding 5 people at a Hanukkah celebration, is now charged with federal hate crimes. His writing and journals under scrutiny,
which frankly show the ramblings of a disturbed individual.
Thomas's attorney, Michael Sussman, says he's mentally ill, needs evaluation. Disputing prosecutors claims the writings, which mention Hitler, show an anti-Semitic motive. Hendersonville, Tennessee, mourning a police officer's death. He was hit by a car last night, running across a highway, chasing a suspect. That suspect was later tracked down and arrested along with another man. America's listening to Fox News.
Clouds and still a few snow flurries around the area. 24 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Following snow overnight and this morning, New Year's Eve forecast for Chicago actually calls for clearing skies later in the day, but plenty of wind for revelers, for fireworks displays and other partying going on along the Chicago River and at Navy Pier. Around 1,300 additional Chicago police officers are expected to be spread across the city on New Year's Eve. Patrol Chief Fred Waller saying the majority of those extra officers will be in uniform to increase visibility. A 6-year-old boy reportedly wounded in a shooting on the south side on Monday. The boy walking with an adult near 83rd and Exchange when they heard a gunshot. The boy reportedly was struck in the arm and was taken by family members to Comer Children's Hospital, listed this morning in fair condition. Legal marijuana sales in Illinois set to begin on New Year's Day. The message from Chicago police is they will not be looking to ticket people for smoking pot outside, at least for now. Meantime, marijuana will continue to be illegal in Indiana and Wisconsin, and police are on the lookout for those transporting and driving while buzzed. Illinois is about to get a lot more gender-neutral restrooms. It's a new state law that goes into effect tomorrow requiring public single-use restrooms to be labeled gender-neutral. Single-gender restrooms that can be used by several people at once will not be impacted at all by the change. Bulls fall to the Bucks 123-102 in Chicago. College football bowl game action. Cal beat the Fighting Illini 35-20. College basketball. DePaul fell to Seton Hall, while Loyola topped Valpo. It's 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Visit signaturebank.bank for your commercial banking needs. Now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Deirdre Bolton, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Google is taking on Uber Eats and Grubhub, and the New York Post says it's starting to have an impact on those businesses. Google officially entered the food ordering business in May. It connects you directly with its partners, DoorDash, Postmates, or Delivery.com, from a restaurant's website. Wedbush analyst Dan Ives believes Uber may need to significantly curtail or even shut down its food ordering business next year. Japan Airlines is giving away 50,000 round-trip domestic tickets. The catch, you need to already be an international passenger flying to Japan between July and September, and you need to be a member of its loyalty program. The idea is to get tourists coming to Japan for the Olympics to see attractions outside of Tokyo or Kyoto. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
It's 8:05, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Larry Elder explains it's tough to get the truth out of Washington.
James Comey being interviewed by Chris Wallace. James Comey had repeatedly said that the dossier was valid, verified, truthful. Either it was essential or it wasn't. You said it wasn't critical. I.G. Horowitz says it was. Oh, I don't understand him to be saying that, but maybe I'm wrong. Hard to say. Let's move on to something else.
The Larry Elder Show, weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
Message and data rates may apply. Individual results vary. Exclusions apply.
Contacts and glasses are such a hassle. I'd love to finally get LASIK, but
I'm going to stop you right there. If you want LASIK, then the LASIK Vision Institute has officially taken away everything standing in your way.
Isn't LASIK expensive?
Not at the LASIK Vision Institute. We're offering dramatically low prices, as low as $220 per eye, and an absolutely free consultation. See for free if LASIK is right for you by texting LIKE to 350350.
But I'm really busy.
A text only takes seconds. The LASIK procedure typically only takes 15 minutes, and most patients can get back to work the following day. The LASIK Vision Institute uses the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology that helps the majority of patients achieve 20/20 vision for as little as $220 per eye. Dr. Greenberg has performed 75,000 laser eye surgeries and is one of the most experienced LASIK surgeons in Chicago.
What's that text again?
Text LIKE to 350350. That's LIKE to 350350 to schedule your free consultation today.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
8:07, AM 560 Traffic Center time, and Jim Telemonti.
In Aurora, southbound Orchard remains closed. Prairie to Jericho after a crash. Eastbound I-57 traffic's jammed from Tri-State to past Sibley. For now, only the right lane is blocked. Clean up after a car fire. We're now looking at just a 5 or 6 minute delay. But the road will need to be salted. Outbound I-57 is clear. The Bishop Ford Freeway looks fine. So does the Ryan Expressway. I-55 southbound at Lamont Road off the entrance ramp. There's a car in the ditch. Stevenson Expressway looks good. No delays to report on the Edens. Inbound Kennedy at Addison. There's a crash on the right side. Outbound, it's now fine. No problems to report on the Eisenhower or on the area tollways. I'm Jim Telemonti on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center, flurries tapering off this morning. Otherwise cloudy, breezy, and a high of 31. Currently 24. Next news, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy J this morning, Sean from Elmwood Park. And before we get to our discussion on impeachment and our guest, Jeff Shepard, former deputy counsel on Nixon's Watergate defense team, just a quick remark about the siege on the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad in response to the strikes that were authorized by the Trump administration on Shia militia targets in Syria and Iraq. Liz Cheney tweeted out this, Congresswoman Liz Cheney. Desperate as their own people rise against them, the Iranian regime is lashing out, killing an American in Iraq last week and now orchestrating attacks against the American embassy in Baghdad. As President Trump has said, they must and will be held accountable. You see, for you Obama, Hillary, Susan Rice apologists, making a comparison to Benghazi, you think reflects well on you and poorly on Trump? No. No, this is how you properly, as Liz Cheney did, this is how you properly ascribe responsibility to terrorists, or in this case, a terrorist regime, the mullahs in Iran, as opposed to conjuring up a video as the responsible action, as the Obama administration and their prevaricating national security team did with Benghazi. Just so we can compare and contrast the two matters. All right, switching gears. This isn't your father's impeachment. This is an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal, co-authored by Jeff Shepard. He is was deputy counsel on Nixon's Watergate defense team. He's the author of The Real Watergate Scandal, Collusion, Conspiracy, and the Plot That Brought Nixon Down. Very provocative piece that he co-authored that distinguishes the dynamics surrounding the Trump impeachment to those of the Nixon impeachment that could have been, the removal from office that could have been. For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by Jeff Shepard. Jeff, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Dan, good to be with you.
So you really provide the important contextual factors in comparing the Nixon imbroglio to the Trump impeachment, the political dynamics, where the economy was, access to media. Why don't you provide that comparison and contrast for us?
Sure. Well, we start with the idea that there are eerie similarities between the two men and the two situations, but there are different facts that's going to lead to a different conclusion. But let's start, if we could, just reviewing the similarities. Both are classic outsiders winning narrow elections in a hugely divisive era. And when they came into Washington, when each was inaugurated, they were opposed by every single D.C.-based institution. Both are pursued by specially selected, highly partisan special prosecutors. But in Nixon's case, there really was an underlying crime. The issue was whether he was involved. In Trump's, there's no crime. There are allegations of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress, but those are made up. In Nixon's case, it was a long, drawn-out affair that was largely bipartisan. With Trump's, it's been very quick, highly partisan, and lacks a factual basis. It's really strange. The other key that I would just mention is in Nixon's case, he was a lame duck. So he wasn't going to run for office again. And when you're a lame duck, other supporters start thinking about themselves and what the next election's going to bring. With Trump, it's his first term. So the Republicans have lashed themselves to his mast. There is no second candidate. There is no alternative going into 2020. So you're going to find an absolutely unified Republican Party. And Nixon didn't enjoy that.
Well, the other thing you point out, too, even though Nixon was a lame ducker, deep recession at the time, oil embargo by Middle Eastern countries. And so Nixon didn't have the political capital that Trump has with a good economy.
Absolutely. And normally you would say, the president doesn't really control the economy. I mean, the American voter thinks he does, but he doesn't. But in both of these cases, the president was largely responsible. Trump passed the tax cuts, massive tax cuts, deregulation, and starts putting America first in trade. With Nixon, it was the opposite. He saved Israel during the Yom Kippur War, but triggered the oil embargo. He was faced with a recession and high inflation, and his actions didn't help. So it's not a bad economy triggered Nixon's impeachment. It's that he lacked the benefit of a really strong economy, which Trump has.
Mr. Shepard, my name is Sean Thompson, and I have a question for you because you have a unique perspective. You also worked for Paul Volcker, right?
Yeah.
So his philosophy versus the borrow and spend philosophy was kind of different. He was really an inflation slayer, wasn't he, Paul Volcker? And
well, he came into his own under President Reagan, and he was appointed by Carter, and then under Reagan, he cinched the interest rates so tight that he beat inflation. I worked for him when he was 42 years old at the U.S. Treasury before he was famous, but it was the same guy and the same approach, a really classy, dignified public servant. He was a Democrat, but he was so good, both parties wanted him in their administrations.
He was the rare Democrat and a capitalist. I'm wondering if you, what do you think his acceptance would be of an orchestrated pressure on the Fed, both to lower interest rates and continue a soft quantitative easing?
Well, I don't think he would like public pressure on the Fed. That's not ordinary circumstances. But Trump is brings an attitude into Washington, a very refreshing attitude that says, the old rules just don't apply. I mean, for this thing to work, we got to be pulling in the same direction. And if I perceive that people who technically are a part of my administration are not pulling in the same direction, I'm going to call them out.
I want to go back to impeachment. Paul Waldman writing in the Washington Post, could Democrats impeach Trump twice? They might have to. And he says, don't dismiss this as absurd. It might be necessary because there may be things that are uncovered, the Southern District of New York, all of these concurrent investigations that require them to vote up more articles of impeachment. Yeah. But what does that say about the strength of the articles of impeachment they passed if they're already looking to impeach him a second time to essentially, I would think, make a more persuasive case than they feel they've made?
Well, it just highlights how weak they know their case is. This was hurry up and get this thing out, and we'll see, we'll get this thing underway. And then it turns out they don't have a basis. Obstruction of Congress is a joke. That would mean any committee that says, I want this, I want that, if you don't give it to them, then they can impeach the president. And I suppose as a technical matter, they could be. The American voters not going along with that. That's ludicrous. The abuse of power is the same thing. You can go back to each president, all the way back to George Washington, and there have been stresses and strains amongst the co-equal branches over whose authority and what the limits are on their authority. Everyone's been accused of abuse of power, but not impeached over what amounts to nits. I mean, a presidential phone call to the guy in the Ukraine, or not responding to a thoroughly enough to a congressional subpoena. Those are laughable, and the Democrats know it. That's why Pelosi is slowing this thing down. It's why there's talk of, well, we can do more, we can do better, we can do more, but they're whistling past the graveyard.
Well, and just to continue the tortured arguments that are being made, really shameful arguments. Neil Cattell, who is Obama's Solicitor General, tweeted out that Trump's obstruction of Congress charge, he, as you were describing, he didn't comply with what the demands were. I mean, the point, this is a former Solicitor General of the United States. It was Trump's right to exert executive privilege, and the Democrats' choice not to litigate the matter in court, where Trump might have won or he might have been compelled in part or whole to produce what they desired. But they chose not to do so. And I mean, would Neil Cattell tell his clients not to assert their rights in his representation of them? Of course not. It's just so transparently shameful.
In spite of the ain't it horrible attitudes of the other side, Trump has always obeyed the laws. Trump has always complied with judicial orders. In this instance, it was Congress that didn't want to roll the dice. You're absolutely right. They just said, "Oh, we don't have to do that. We'll impeach him." What's so intriguing, if you were there before, that's the third article of impeachment against Nixon, was failure to adhere to a congressional subpoena. And the second article was abuse of power. The only one missing in a comparability analysis is obstruction of justice, which is really the main charge against Nixon.
Right.
And that's what they thought the Mueller report would bring in. And it didn't, but they're not giving up on that. When you went through, well, maybe next year, maybe next year, maybe next year, they're really hoping that they can get access to grand jury testimony served up by Mueller's staff in that report that has to stay secret, and they want to leak that out and say, see, obstruction of justice, this changes everything. But the public is watching this, and it's kind of like, well, we hold on to this thin reed, and then we jump to that thin reed, and then we jump to the next one, and they realize none of this is serious. Every single thing that's going on today, every single allegation is designed for its impact on the 2020 election. Now, it doesn't matter whether it's open witnesses or the president's counsel gets to participate or whether Nancy sends over the articles. Every single person in Washington, D.C. makes a calculation every single day on the perception of fairness to their constituents that's going to come out in the 2020 election. And it's even the safe districts aren't certain because of the American perception of fair play. Americans expect a fair deal. The Republicans are winning this massively because the Democrats are not giving them a fair deal, and it's reflecting. You trot out all these Democrat experts, like the Solicitor General, and they're ruining their own reputation.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a cut and paste job, as you're saying, and then we'll work backwards to try and find the evidence to support it. He is Jeff Shepard, Deputy Counsel on Nixon's Watergate defense team, author of The Real Watergate Scandal, Collusion, Conspiracy, and the Plot That Brought Nixon Down. And you want to check out his piece in the Journal, which I'll tweet out. This Isn't Your Father's Impeachment. Jeff Shepard, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it. Happy New Year.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And he joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
This is better than I expected. You guys, your customer service and everything, you guys are great. Yeah, you're the best company out there as far as nutrition goes, I think. And the commercials, they talk about it, but a lot of times it's like, I don't know if it really gives it true justice of what this really is. People need to know. This is maybe the most amazing product I've ever tried. So you can just feel the energy. It's so pure. It tastes so good. I'm just blown away by it. It's amazing.
This is the season that focuses on family, faith, and love. This holiday season, Balance of Nature is offering 25% off, a free travel set, and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. This will only be available until the end of the year, so don't wait. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
It's a real-world reality. Gunshots. Sometimes the results are tragic. Now, there's gunshot detection technology and active shooter countermeasure technology available right now. And it was developed for the U.S. government.
Hey, this is Mike Walsh. My company is Walsh Wireless. We are the Chicagoland dealer for gunshot detection technology. This gunshot detection system is nothing short of amazing, and it is highly effective. Who uses it? Government, healthcare, education, houses of worship, entertainment, and a lot more. There are no false positives, and that's good. The system can identify the caliber of the gun, so law enforcement can be prepared. This gunshot detection system can also work with your current security system to do a lockdown, instant notification, and more. Identify the gunshot and cut down response time. You need this. Gunshot detection technology from Walsh Wireless. Cost-effective solution to counter a real-world reality.
Financing available. Go to walshwireless.com. A proud IBEW contractor. walshwireless.com.
Names matter. Your name, the name you've made for yourself, and the name of the company you represent. Because of you, they're names people can trust. That's why at 4imprint, every name and logo is printed with certainty. We pay attention to every detail because we know the way your name appears is the way it's remembered. So you'll know for certain that every item, from the right apparel to the most popular tech items, will be right the first time, on time, every time, at a great price, guaranteed. Because when you have passion, integrity, and certainty, the only name they'll remember is yours. Explore thousands of promotional products at 4imprint.com. That's the number 4, imprint.com. 4imprint. For certain.
I'm Dan Proft.
And I'm Amy Jacobson.
And we want to tell you about an opportunity for you to promote your business and to make a difference this Christmas season.
We're talking about our Food for the Poor Business Benefactor Program.
We've partnered with Food for the Poor to feed thousands of families fleeing from the socialist crisis in Venezuela. These families are now in Colombia and are desperate. Food for the Poor is working with local partners at feeding sites to make sure these families survive.
And your business can be a part of the solution. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor by making a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor. When you do that, AM 560 will give you 40 60-second commercials to air right here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you.
That's the best advertising deal in all of Chicago. To take advantage of this deal, just call Anjanette Netkowski at 847-472-8951. Again, that's 847-472-8951. One more time, the number 847-472-8951.
AM 560, The Answer.
Time now for another reason why Dan Proft is single.
Yeah, it's the last installment of this in 2019. It's a good one. Man's penis started rotting after getting bitten during sex.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. 43-year-old man visited the emergency room with a painful wound festering near the tip of his...
All right.
His significant other had, and by the time he sought care, the 3-centimeter wound had turned pitch black.
Well, I got a news for you. When 3 centimeters will bring you down, you got bigger problems than the bite.
Yes, but... Fortunately, doctors intervene in time to save it. Ironically, it's just sort of a funny twist to this story.
Oh, yeah.
Rotten Penis was the name of my high school band. We were a Toad the Wet Sprocket cover band. I mean, we used to kill with this. Actual audio.
And is it the name of your boat down in Naples?
No.
You sure?
The name of my boat in Naples is Illinois Expat.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought it was Rotten Penis is taking on water.
Yeah, so, just a tip
to
you.
King of the double entendre.
Gentlemen out there. Yeah. Check up a month later just to complete the story. To finish. Found he completely recovered with only minimal glans penis deformity.
Yeah.
Which I believe was the name of your band
exactly.
in high school.
Yeah,
minimal
and your
glans penis deformity.
and your fraternity at Northwestern. Here's the good news about your personality. This why Dan Proft is single will continue in perpetuity.
That's no question. And the report, I mean, this is a story about medicine. Really what the story is about, the miracles of modern medicine. Patients who are bitten on the penis often do not seek immediate medical care, and the disease process often progresses. So if you are bitten on the penis and it starts to rot, then you're going to want to go ahead and seek medical care as soon as possible.
How's Obamacare?
It's a little public service announcement.
Yeah. How's Obamacare going to list this on the filing?
Yeah, I don't know. Perhaps that's something that will be mandatory for all plans. Will have to offer coverage for this sort of eventuality.
I mean, if I have to cover a guy named Pete becoming Paula, this better be covered.
Oh, yeah, that story, too. This is, I mean, talk about a story being the headline, or the headline being the story. That's probably a better way to say it, the appropriate way. You're going to need a scorecard for this. Transgender man gives birth to non-binary partner's baby with female sperm donor.
Yeah. And that kid's got a good chance of not ending up in therapy.
I don't. Does anybody in this story have their original parts? I mean, I don't. It's
that kid's got everything. ADHD, the whole 9 yards.
The trans man also said that his pregnancy did not make him less of a man.
Who turns around when that little special ed kid yells "Dad"?
Transgender man gives birth to non-binary partner's baby with female sperm donor. Transgender mother says her pregnancy did not make her less of a man. There is 2019 culturally in 2 sentences. Coming up at 8:38, the hero in the Fort Worth church shooting has been identified. You'll hear from him. Now you hear from Mike Scott with a check of the headlines.
Clouds, a few snow flurries still in the area, 24 degrees. And protesters in Iraq are storming the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. After funerals for 24 Iranian-backed militia fighters killed in U.S. airstrikes Sunday, mourners marched into the heavily fortified Green Zone, then threw water bottles and smashed security cameras outside the American Embassy. Federal Election Commission this morning asking for more details about thousands of donors to Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, who gave less than $200 each. Agency staffers sent letters to Omar's campaign in late November concerning a huge number of donors giving $200 or less. Candlelight service was held Monday night for a Texas community mourning and shaken by Sunday's deadly church shooting. Pastor Britt Farmer spoke with the crowd.
Pray for me and for all of our family here that lost these 2 great men. Pray for our church.
Service was held outside of the West Freeway Church of Christ near Fort Worth, where a gunman opened fire, killing 2 before being shot to death by armed church members. Well, it's a good day for Ford, crossing the finish line with pre-orders of its new electric Mustang. The Detroit automaker says reservations for the first edition Mustang Mach-E are full completely. But drivers looking to get behind the wheel of the crossover can still order the premium or GT models. Following snow overnight and this morning, New Year's Eve forecast for Chicago clearing, but with wind by this evening as fireworks get set to jump off near the Chicago River and at Navy Pier. 6-year-old boy reportedly wounded in a shooting on Monday on the south side. The boy walking with an adult near 83rd and Exchange. Around 5:15 when they heard a gunshot, the boy was struck in the arm and was taken by family members to Comer Children's Hospital where, according to the family, he's listed in fair condition this morning. And good news for a former Bear this morning and ex-Carolina Panthers head coach. Moments ago, Ron Rivera was named as the new head coach of the Washington Redskins. Multiple sources say Rivera and the Skins have reached a deal on a 5-year contract. He'll take over in the nation's capital. Bulls fall to the Bucks, 123-102. College football bowl game action. Fighting Illini fall to Cal, 35-20. Blackhawks visit the Calgary Flames at the Saddledome tonight, while the White Sox have wrapped up their 3-year, $55 million contract with lefty Dallas Keuchel. The news service of Nature Valley Oats and Honey Crunchy Bars. The satisfying crunch of Nature Valley Crunchy Bars can keep your family going, which means more outside fun for you. And with whole grain oats and real delicious honey, it's really tasty too. Nature Valley Oats and Honey Crunchy Bars. 8:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher is all in.
I am one of the few who's never wavered in my support of Donald Trump.
It's real simple. When you know that the alternative to Donald Trump is unthinkable in terms of our nation's economy, our military, our sovereignty, our borders, this is an easy call. This hasn't been hard for me.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I was having a hard time breathing. It was hard for me to put one foot in front of the other. It was just awful. I feel 100% better. I mean, I can breathe. I don't feel that weight on my chest anymore. My head feels clearer, and my husband can tell that I've seen more up about things. So for me, the fact that I feel better and my husband can tell my head is better, I'm just like singing from the rooftops about that.
This is the season that focuses on family, faith, and love. This holiday season, Balance of Nature is offering 25% off, a free travel set, and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. This will only be available until the end of the year, so don't wait. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code Chicago.
This is Attorney Stephen Leahy, host of the IRS Radio Hour, heard right here on AM 560 every Sunday evening at 5 o'clock. Let me tell you about Bill. Bill's business slowed down and he fell behind on his taxes. Instead of filing his tax return, he decided to wait until he could pay. Well, 1 year turned to 2, turned to 3. Then the IRS threatened to contact his customers, take his house, his bank account, and his passport. Well, Bill hired me. We filed all of his tax returns and an appeal to slow the IRS down. Then we worked out an installment agreement based on how much he could pay, not on how much he owed. Now Bill can rely on the IRS protection plan. We will file his future tax returns and keep the IRS off his back so Bill can focus on growing his business. If you have questions about the IRS, you can get a copy of my book, Deal with Your IRS Problem Today, to learn the secrets of solving your IRS problem and save your business, your marriage, and your reputation. Call 312-664-6649. or go to freeirsbook.com.
Get the best sleep of your life. Helix makes personalized mattresses to fit your unique body type and sleep preferences. Go to helixsleep.com and get up to $200 off during their holiday sale.
It is 8:36 in the AM 560 Traffic Center, and let's get the latest on that morning commute with Jim Talamonte.
In Aurora, southbound Orchard has reopened between Prairie and Jericho after a crash. We still see some challenging conditions in northwest Indiana and southwest Michigan. There's a crash on eastbound 94 past Union Pier. 2 left lanes blocked. The Edens is fine. No delays to report at the Kennedy, the Eisenhower, the Stevenson, or the Ryan. I-57 inbound's a little heavy past Sibley after an earlier car fire. Bishop Ford Freeway looks great. We see no tollway delays right now. Trains are on schedule. Metro has an early getaway schedule today, though the South Shore Line has a regular schedule. The CTA, again for New Year's Eve, offers free rides 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. That's December 31st. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Flurries tapering off this morning. Will stay cloudy through the midday. Breezy, high 31. Patchy clouds overnight as we ring in the new year. And a low of 22. 24 at O'Hare. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by The Mortgage Update with Dan Frio. Every Saturday morning at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
When you've got questions, he always has an answer. It's Sean Hannity this afternoon at 2 on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Happy New Year, Dan, and in for Amy J this morning, Sean from Elmwood Park.
It's the last day of 19. How you celebrate, kid? What are you doing tonight?
Yeah.
You and your nerd friends going to get around and play cards or anything?
Yeah, I'm going to play. Actually, I am going to play cards for a couple hours and then, call it a day. I'm going to play golf tomorrow.
Sure you are.
I am.
I got a cigar says you don't.
That's a bet.
Book it.
I'm playing it.
Mike Scott, witness.
All right. And it's a cigar of my choosing.
All right, fine. Go ahead.
You got those $200 cigars in, right?
Or if you no, they're in the cabinet and they're not there.
That's in the store.
Yeah.
That counts.
Locked away, not part of the bet.
Well, one of the ways we're going to end the year is by celebrating a hero, and his name is Jack Wilson. And this is the gentleman, deputy sheriff, the head of security for the church in White Settlement, Texas, that was attacked over the weekend. And he was identified yesterday and spoke to the press. And here's how it went down inside that church.
You mentioned that you took a pause because there were people in the area.
And there were people in front of me between the shooter and myself trying to get, because the chaos that erupted when he shot the first time, some of the people stood up and were trying to get in the way. I had to wait just a second because the whole thing was less than 6 seconds from start to finish. And, that was, I had to make sure I didn't hit it, someone, a member there, as they were right in front of me. There was no verbal communication out of him whatsoever at that point. He was down, he was bleeding profusely, and the only movement was, just body twitching, which, happens, when someone is in that condition where they're about to die.
The rounds that put him down.
Death rattle.
Yeah, there was only one. I only fired one round, and it was the only shot I had, which was a headshot. Which in my classes I teach not to take headshots, but that was what I felt. That's the only shot I had a clear shot, and I was comfortable taking the shot.
Good gun control.
I don't see myself as a hero. I see myself as doing what needed to be done to take out the evil threat. That's the way I approach it. That is, and like I said earlier, that's how I am, processing this whole event.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. How are you processing this whole event? Because there are Second Amendment advocates who don't like the idea of people carrying weapons in a house of worship. Are you one of them? Or are you happy that, I'm sure you're happy that Jack Wilson was there as the head of security and somebody who's trained. He mentioned he does classes to instruct people on firearm safety and usage. But you happy with the idea that it wasn't just Jack Wilson who was armed. There was a half a dozen other congregants in that church that were also armed, and at least another one of them drew. Thankfully, Jack Wilson had eliminated the threat prior to.
And they were praying for low ammo prices during the attack. But here, you know what the name of his boat was? One and Done.
Ironically, and almost divinely, Jack Wilson is running for county commissioner, and his campaign slogan is, "Make sure your vote is on target." It's incredible, and I don't want to minimize the tragic circumstance. 2 people were murdered at this church, but it is just a remarkable event and a remarkable act of heroism and a great shot. He was probably 50 feet away.
Yeah,
if you saw the pictures. But I asked the question about gun ownership or carrying a gun in a house of worship. There's this piece in the the LA Times. 2 years ago, this was after the Sutherland Springs church shooting. And another individual, NRA certified instructor, Stephen Williford, as we've talked about in this show, grabbed his AR-15 and ran to the sound of the bullets and saved a bunch of people's lives. Unfortunately, there were still more than 24 dead, but saved a bunch of people's lives by engaging the shooter. Good guy with a gun. But Tom Nichols, writing in the LA Times after that shooting 2 years ago, "I'm a conservative and defender of the Second Amendment right to own weapons, and there's no doubt cases in which citizens who live and work in dangerous areas can make themselves safer through responsible gun ownership. Racking in church, however, is not one of those cases. Despite wall-to-wall media coverage, mass shooting incidents are extremely rare. You are highly unlikely to die in one. Besides, civilians who think they're going to be saviors to the next church shooting are more likely to get in the way of trained law enforcement personnel than they are to be any help as a backup posse." Well, those comments didn't age particularly well given the circumstances of what happened at this church in White Settlement, Texas, did they? And yes, he was the head of security, but he wasn't the only one armed. And yes, he was trained, but perhaps was not the only one trained in that church. And yes, it is. Mass shootings are very unlikely, and the odds that you will ever be involved in a mass shooting, be potentially a target in a mass shooting, are infinitesimal. But there are 2 people in White Settlement, Texas, who are dead because they were. And so on the off chance that something like this would happen, and who can predict, why wouldn't you want to be in a position where you could defend yourself? What's the downside harm for the law-abiding gun owner?
I have the same philosophy as to weapons and my right to carry them as the criminals do. I always did. Always did. Think I needed J.B. Pritzker and his soft baby hands to tell me it's okay? I didn't need that. I didn't need it before it was a law, and I won't need it after they try and take them away.
Speaking of the media's coverage of this, then what they try to amplify, the stories they hope to tell, even when the facts don't cooperate. Reuters. You heard Jack Wilson talk about the classes he teaches. I always teach, don't go for the head, but that's the shot I had. You heard him say that. The Reuters headline, gunman in Texas church shooting owned gun range gave lessons, per state prosecutor. No. Reuters had to later issue a correction. The previous story and headline by Reuters read that the gunman owned a shooting range and gave lessons, which was incorrect. In fact, the man who took down the gunman was the one who was a firearms instructor. The incorrect Reuters story has been replaced with a story by the Associated Press. We regret the error of 180 degrees. We regret accidentally, erroneously conveying the idea that, hey, a church shooter could be the law-abiding gun range owner who gives lessons. These are sort of the unacceptable mistakes, particularly when, with respect to these big government beltway outlets, they are always made in the direction of, big government and the left and the anti-gun, anti-law-abiding citizen narrative. And it really cheapens the heroism of Jack Wilson. He might not consider himself a hero, but we all know that he is. Chuck in Delavan, Wisconsin, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
How you doing? Hey, Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
The more the merrier. I don't think that anybody should disarm themselves whether they go to church. Those people over there in Muncie, those 4 Jewish people that were hacked to death, that guy was, he thought it was going to be a knife fight. They would have more than happily made sure that they could have had somebody like this police officer. So hats off to them. Happy New Year's, guys.
Thanks for the call, Chuck. Yeah, we talked to a professor from Emory University earlier in the show about the synagogue attack in New Jersey, and she mentioned, and I hadn't seen this, that no less than Sandinista Bill de Blasio was promoting the idea of joint neighborhood watch squads with Hasidic Jews and African-American residents of that New York State community where the attack occurred. And perhaps in other communities as well where there's been anti-Semitic attacks. That's not a bad idea.
No, of course not.
I
don't like the idea that it's being even managed, though. I mean, why?
I wouldn't.
Can white people go too, or?
Well, but sure. But the point is to say there's tension between these two communities clearly, and bringing them together to provide for the public safety together. That makes some sense to me. Tom Sedeka in Barrington, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hey, Tom.
Good morning, Tom Barrington, he, him.
Thank you.
How are you guys?
Yes.
What's up, handsome? How are you?
I'm doing great. Hey, calling to wish you guys a happy new year and the listeners a happy new year. And Dan, congratulations on the national platform.
Thank you.
That's outstanding. And Sean and I are probably feeling the same way, a little jealous that we have to share you now with the national audience, but don't forget us little fanboys.
So, Tom, before you leave, Proft has nothing to do tonight, all right? He's going to go with a bunch of guys with letters after their name. They're going to play cards like a bunch of nerds. I know you, and I'm sure there is a cummerbund in your New Year's celebration. Why don't you invite Proft, show him how to live a little bit?
No. Don't impose me on people. Yeah.
Listen, my New Year's Eve plans aren't even fit for NPR monotone, believe me. It's nothing. But, hey, Dan, what you're saying about Reuters reporting, I mean, what's happened with our media here in the last, well, it's been going on and declining, but it's accelerated under the era of Trump, is if they don't lie or commit bias by omission when they are providing commission of news, they are contorting the facts, and everything's about a narrative, and it's disgusting. But thanks for bringing that to light. You guys are the best. Happy New Year.
Thank you very much, Tom. And danproftshow.com. Check your local listings starting Thursday.
You heard what Sadeka just said. You guys are the best. You're nothing without me, Prof.
So we're going to find out. Greg in Woodstock, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, guys. Great to hear you on the radio. Anyway, I have asked my church leaders in the past, in the event of an active shooter, do you have a protocol in place? And the answer I got was yes. I didn't press them for the details for obvious reasons. And I would recommend to anybody who's concerned about this, ask your church officials, do you have a plan? And if not, why not?
Yeah, thanks for the call, Greg. I mean, I think that's fair. I mean, look, in the wake of the school shootings, haven't we changed the protocols associated with school safety from lockdowns to trying to harden those targets, some schools hiring security personnel?
I just have a whole hard time with this mindset. For instance,
Which mindset is that?
Well, I used to be Catholic. You are Catholic. How are we going to ask our church leaders? They're on parole. But secondly, this idea that I can only exercise my rights if someone says, okay, put up all the stickers you want. You know how many Starbucks I've been in, strapped, and they got the little sign in the window? I could care less.
Yes, but you're right. But you're talking about communal places, and there's a lot of people, congregants of churches and parishes, who would want to enlist church leadership about the policy and protocol, just as you would necessarily need to enlist school leadership if there were going to be guns on the premises. So it is actually a relevant conversation.
Starbucks to the socialists is a church. So there.
Yeah, I understand, but we're not talking about socialists. We're talking about right-thinking, law-abiding Americans who want to be able to protect themselves in their places of worship and have their children protected in their places of education. And so this is a conversation and a debate that will continue. I mean, remember how much attention was given to a school in Southern Illinois that was going to train teachers in firearm usage and safety who wanted to be, so that they could conceal in the school.
Yeah.
So this is a conversation that's happening community by community, school district by school district, church by church.
Yeah, and if we wanted to protect the kids, we wouldn't even send them to school. So there you go.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Imagine selling your home in under 30 days without ever listing it. It's possible with the Wexler Real Estate Group's new Instant Offer program. Just schedule a home evaluation and receive an offer for your home. You don't have to pay commissions, service fees, or buyer closing costs. There's no home improvements, inspection, repairs, open houses, or for sale signs. You don't even have to do the dishes. If you accept the offer, you pick the closing date that's convenient for you. And you can be out in less than 30 days. Hassle-free. If you do choose the traditional sales route, no problem. Ron Wexler, Tammy Northcutt, and the team at the Wexler Group at Keller Williams Preferred Realty have over 35 years of experience to help you sell your home for top dollar in today's market. For more information on the Wexler Group's Instant Offer program, call or text 708-629-5151. That's 708-629-5151. Or visit thewexlergroup.com. Certain conditions and fees apply. Ron Wexler is an Illinois licensed real estate agent serving Chicago and its suburbs.
I'm Dan Proft.
And I'm Amy Jacobson.
And if you're a small business owner or you make the marketing or advertising decisions for a business, then listen up.
Once again, our annual Food for the Poor campaign is underway to raise money to feed families fleeing from the socialist crisis in Venezuela. These families are now in Colombia and are starving. And our good friends at Food for the Poor are working with partners on the ground at feeding centers to make sure these families survive.
And here's how your business can be a part of the solution. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor. Just make a $2,500 tax-deductible tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor, and AM 560 will give you 40 60-second commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday to Friday at no additional cost to you.
Dan, that's the best advertising deal in all of Chicago. Through the generosity of your business, you'll be helping 8 families. To take advantage of this deal, just call Anjanette Nikowski at 847-472-8951. That's 847-472-8951. One more time, 847-472-8951.
Eyes Right Open is a 501c4 organization that's committed to making America great today, tomorrow, and forever. Be part of something great and join them today.
We are working on the issues of the day right now, so buckle up and get ready for the future. Our show will lead you to the promised land of the beauty of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You will take command of the world around you instead of the constant barrage of lies, innuendos, and fake news. Take control and get ready as our country needs you. The commies are coming. The progressives are coming. The liberals are coming. Join us every Saturday night at 5 p.m. starting in January to learn how to win and make America great today, tomorrow, and forever. Eyes Right Open. Join us.
Eyes Right Open is a new program starting in January right here on AM 560 The Answer. Sheet metal is a big part of commercial and industrial facilities. Look around your business and you'll quickly notice how many components use sheet metal, from fan systems and hoods to machinery guards and much more. For top quality sheet metal work, get to know the pros at Vans Industrial.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, owner of Vans Industrial. Vans Industrial is an industrial sheet metal contractor that can fabricate all types of alloys up to 1-inch plate. We perform jobs including chutes, hoppers, stacks, siding, and dust collection. We work in material handling facilities including steel, chemical, agricultural, food processing plants, and more. Vans Industrial can also design and perform the engineering for a complete turnkey installation. Our quality work is installed by trained mechanics who will work closely with you to make sure the job is done right.
Vans uses only the best and safest union-trained mechanics, insured at the highest level. Call 833-VANS-IND. That's 833-VANS-IND. Or on the web at vansindustrial.com.
Balance of Nature's fruit and veggie capsules contain 100% vine-ripened fruits and vegetables, tested pure with no pesticides, fillers, or additives of any kind, and are the most effective whole food supplements on the market today. Fruits and vegetables are on an average 85% water. Balance of Nature uses cold vacuum technology to remove the water, leaving only the whole food. We don't use any heat, air, or light drying methods that damage nutrients. Our cold vacuum technology maintains 99% of the fresh fruits and vegetables' original nutritional value. This is the season that focuses on family, faith, and love. This holiday season, Balance of Nature is offering 25% off, a free travel set, and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. This will only be available until the end of the year, so don't wait. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
In 2019, Illinois became the abortion capital of the Midwest. But what are you going to do about it? Join thousands at the largest pro-life event in the Midwest, Saturday, January 11th at the March for Life Chicago. Hear from keynote speaker and abortion survivor Claire Caldwell, the Chicago Bears' Pat McCaskey, Cardinal Supich, and many other pro-life leaders. Check out new and expanded events all day, including the convention at the Congress Plaza Hotel, a youth rally, the March for Life rally and March at Daly Plaza, a dinner banquet, even swing dancing into the night. Purchase your tickets to the banquet and cocktail hour, sign up for a free fast pass to the convention, and find out more at marchforlifechicago.org. The 2020 March for Life Chicago theme is Life Empowers. Pro-life is pro-woman. The voiceless need a voice. March for babies, march for women, march for life. Visit marchforlifechicago.org today. That's marchforlifechicago.org.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Sean from Elmwood Park in on this New Year's Eve for Amy J. And Sean, your New Year's resolution?
I'm going to stop being so tolerant of ideas and people that I disagree with.
Yeah.
You know, I
No,
compromise. Prof, you can't sleep good when you compromise all day long.
That is really a bold, aggressive choice, because if there's one thing people know about you, it's, you lean to the too tolerant side.
The king of compromise. It's my wife's complaint all the time.
Yeah.
I'm always giving in.
Too deferential.
Yeah. Just always going along to get along.
Yeah. I'm going to play more golf, play more basketball.
Well, stop eating cream puffs there.
Fly more, write more. And if I don't accomplish some of these things, like get down to a scratch this summer.
You're going to throw more clubs, which are impossible for you to do?
No. I'm going to give up, and I'm just going to balloon out to Pritzker size and
nice.
Wear comfortable, relaxed clothing. Come in here, eat on air like Steve Dahl, and just basically, wind it down, low cum style.
Go from a 6'1" Tony Randall to a 6'1" Pritzker.
Yeah,
nice, aim high, baby.
Yeah. I can carry that off. All right. Anyway, Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you so much for listening, as always, and throughout the year. Much appreciated. Now we turn it over to Mike Scott for the headlines.
Dan and Sean, a start of a new decade will be celebrated in downtown Chicago tonight with clearing skies in your forecast, but plenty of wind as the fireworks go off. Chicago family is unhappy this morning with a manslaughter charge. A 6-year-old was hit by gunfire in fair condition this morning. Legal marijuana sales beginning January 1st in a few places. Alderman Carrie Austin is dropping her bid for ward committee person. Bulls lost to the Bucks. Patrick Kane named to the NHL All-Star team, and the Fighting Illini fall to Cal in the Red Box Bowl. WIND Chicago News Time is 9 o'clock.
President Trump blames Iran.